Jaden Henson and Jack Crowley on the weekend in one of the most dramatic rugby quarterfinals you will ever see. And I'll tell you what, plenty of drama over the weekend. Lots of playoff rugby happening around the different global competitions. And yeah, I mean, for the last quarterfinal of the URC, the last spot available to go to extra time to begin with, and then to a kickoff, which was described as a load of crap by Ty Byrne, which is fair enough. I think, as a big lock forward, I don't think you're going to sit there thinking, I didn't play 100 minutes of rugby to watch a bunch of backline players kick for goal to determine whether or not we're going through to the quarterfinal. But very interesting scenes down in Durban, and yeah, a bit of shithousery coming from Jaden Hendrickson. And Rusty Rasmus has decided to get involved in the saga as well. Before we get into it, please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So basically what happened is that we had 80 minutes of rugby, and there's nothing separating the two sides, 24 points apiece. We went into extra time, and no points being scored during extra time. And as a result of both teams having scored the same amount of tries, then they went into a kickoff. And basically how the kickoff works is you nominate 3 kickers, and there are 6 kicks that are taken for each team. Best out of 6. If you're tired after those, you go into sudden death. And basically it goes from 3 kicks on the 22 to 3 kicks on the 10-meter line, center, right, left, for example. And basically what happened is that, I mean, to be fair, I mean, even Ty Byrne himself, there was a lot of cramp happening throughout the game, and one of the scrums actually had to delay because as soon as he went down, he also couldn't carry on with cramp. So it really showed you these players had put absolutely everything out there. They had played for 100 minutes. A lot of these players played from the beginning, and I mean, your body's conditioned to go to 80 minutes, and that's kind of like at the max for your more sort of well-conditioned players. Anything after that is asking for a big shift. Going up to 100 minutes, that's a huge shift for especially the bigger players. Now, bit of context. Jaden Henderson was one of the kickers for the Sharks. He had also played a full game. And the Sharks went to an early 3-2 lead in the kickoff. And Jaden Henderson then took his kick on the 10-meter line in the center of the park. And he slotted. Now, as soon as he kicked it, he fell back and started cramping. And was basically lying right next to where the ball was, where Jack Crowley was set to take his kick. And a whole bunch of medics rushed on, and it really delayed. Now, what was quite interesting is that Jack Crowley was very comfortable. He was perfectly comfortable to take the kick itself. He basically lined up, and he wanted to carry on with Jaden Henderson basically like lying next to him, cramping up. He was very happy to continue and take the kick because he didn't want to be put off by, delaying it, for example. And, then what happened is that we then had quite a few Sharks medics, and they couldn't really move Jaden Hendrickson because they didn't want to move him until they could sort of stop him from cramping and the likes of that. And then the biggest thing of the weekend happened, which is that right there. So whilst he was down, Jaden Hendrickson gave a little wink and a smile to Jack Crowley, which has really riled up fans. Now, basically, that sort of wink means a lot of fans are saying that he faked the cramps and that he went down and it was a bit of game. It was gamesmanship. People are saying it's blatant cheating. Come on, it's not cheating. I think that anything down that sort of alley gets a bit silly and a bit hysterical. But people talking about there's a bit of gamesmanship and that he was trying to delay Jack Crowley, trying to sort of play some mind games. Put it in his mind, make him overthink, for example. And there's a certain amount of that which I think is a possibility in terms of being able to delay the kick and try and create as much possible as well. I mean, we had actually seen him, and Jaden Henderson always toes the line. I mean, he actually got shut up by the referee, and it was quite a frustrating part in the period where he actually didn't play the ball from the ruck, where I think they could have probably scored because he was too busy complaining to the referee about trying to get a penalty. And after his first kick in the kickoff, he already had lots and lots of words to Jack Crowley, and the referee actually had to tell him to move away and to stop it because he was saying a lot to Jack Crowley to try and get under his skin, try and put him off. And then this incident happens. Now, what has also happened is that Rusty Rasmus is involved. He's posted this screenshot. And this is basically to dismiss any claims that he was faking a cramp. And it's a pretty clear screenshot. I mean, you can clearly see that his calf there is in full cramp. And you can just see when the muscle contracts like that. And I mean, it's incredibly painful and you can't really move. Jack Crowley actually didn't have a go at Jaden Hendrickson himself, funny enough, after the incident. He was actually one of the Sharks medics, which he directed the shot. So I don't know if something was said between the Sharks medic because Jack Crowley basically just wanted to get Jaden Henderson moved out the way so he could take his kick. And it was delayed for a while. That probably didn't help in terms of really fueling the fire. But Jack Crowley, when he eventually got going, He basically stepped up, he slotted his kick and then turned around and gave an absolute mouthful to the Sharks medic, where lots of F-offs and the likes of that were uttered. And it gave quite a sort of an edge to it. And one of the big reasons I think a lot of Irish fans are then going after Jaden Henderson is that he was sort of basically fine, inverted commas, at the post-match celebrations. Now, as always, two things can be true at the same time. Was he cramping? Definitely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think you look at that and he was down. Was it as bad as it sort of seen in terms of how long it took for them to move him, for example? I don't think it needs to have necessarily taken that long. And everybody's talking about the fact that you don't stand over an injured player and the likes of that. But I do think that they delayed, and there were a lot of people on the field in and around the situation. I don't think there necessarily needed to be a lot of people. You probably needed one, maybe two medics, and that was probably it. And they had at least three support staff around there. And you can understand why Jack Crowley is upset, because he's trying to get into his zone. He's trying to focus on his job. And now he's got lots of other people within the space, for example, comments potentially being made. It actually didn't affect him in the end. And it was actually the miss from Rory Scannell, which proved it the most costly. And that brilliant kick from Bradley Davids won the Sharks the game. But it is very interesting to see just how much people have had a complete meltdown over this act. And personally, I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the people lose their mind on both sides. You got some people who are calling Jaden Henderson a cheat and saying it's not on, and you shouldn't be allowed to get away with this type of thing. You should punish the likes of that. You got South African fans who are loving the fact that it is a bit of gamesmanship. People defending him, saying he went down for a cramp. There was absolutely nothing he could do. It's not his fault. But when you do things like this, you invite controversy, you invite criticism, and I actually don't mind, to be honest. Again, we talk about Henry Pollock and the fact that he's ruffled so many feathers with, that celebration and dropping the ball and like that. He's a big personality. Now, Jaden Henderson is a personality like that. The biggest problem at the moment, I think, is that he's been struggling with a bit of form. And when you're going to have those sort of in-your-face personalities and have these moments, you've got to be able to back it up with performance. And that's why I really enjoy Henry Pollock, because he's a special player. And I love the fact that you've got a young, confident player who's willing to put himself out there and open himself up for criticism. And we saw the Bordeaux players mocking him with the celebration, stuff like that. But it's because, it's a player that they would have been a threat for him. So it's an interesting incident. I enjoy these type of things. I really think it adds to the conversation. Anything that gets people talking, I think is pretty good, to be honest. And the fact that we now got this even bigger rivalry growing between Irish and South African fans is quite cool. As usual, some people take it far too far. I didn't really think of it much after the game, to be honest. I thought, it's one of those things. But amazing, people are still going on it. So the big question is, where do you stand on this whole thing? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. And we are still in the aftermath of Winkgate. And it's actually very interesting to see the different reactions to a very minor incident, to be honest. I think something that will maybe forgotten about in a while, but maybe not. And what's quite amazing is just to see how much outrage a simple act, as simple as a wink, can get. And Jacques Nienaber is waiting on the situation, and I'm very interested to see what the reaction is. Because I think he's very, very right, to be honest. And I think that we're continuously harping on about an incident, which is part of the game. But I think it actually, the more you look at it, the more it really sort of adds to the sort of personality of the game, and whether it's a good or bad thing, And I think sometimes, players do things which we like, players do things we don't like, but the main thing is that it kind of adds to the theater, and I'm a big fan of the theater of it. Some people are saying, oh, people must just play the game. Yeah, but at the same time, this is a product, I mean, professional rugby, professional sport is a product, and part of that product is personalities, big personalities. Your Usain Bolts, your Lewis Hamiltons, your Cristiano Ronaldos, your big personalities that drive controversy and conflicting opinion and create narratives and create discussions and flashpoints, really. And what's amazing is how much that little moment has become a flashpoint, to the point where Rassie Erasmus has come out and sort of weighed in with a tweet. And Jacques Nienaber was on RTE this week, or this morning I think it actually was, and has had a very interesting response to it, basically suggesting that the Irish are just as good at giving it out and doing similar sort of antics as what Jaden Henderson did over the weekend. And I think that's going to upset quite a lot of Irish fans. I think a lot of Irish fans, to be fair, are looking at it and saying it actually made no difference. I think that's the main thing, because the big thing was the accusation that he wasn't cramping. Rassie Erasmus came out, well, didn't come up specifically and say anything, but he tweeted the photo, which basically suggested there was any absolute nonsense that, he wasn't cramping, for example, and that was completely counterfeit. But this is the big moment, isn't it? And, Jacques has been spoken about, and he spoke about the fact that, it's all about gamesmanship, and it's about the main thing is, it's easy to look at one isolated incident. And he makes a very good point in terms of if you were to listen to a ref's mic without commentary throughout the entire game. And by the way, these coaches do get that because they do get copies of the game without commentary on it. So they get sort of like thing. And what's very interesting is you pick up a lot of the comments, stuff like that. And the main thing he was saying is, instances like that, kind of your shithousery, your gamesmanship, your comments happen throughout the entire game. So it's not fair to basically look at one isolated incident and basically chastise the player or the entire team based on one incident when both teams have probably been engaging with similar sort of antics throughout the game. Maybe not as something as I don't say significant, but as clear and in the moment and within the drama of it, sort of added to it. But a very interesting sort of perspective, I thought. So he was asked about it, and he said it's something that happens in the game for minute one. Let's actually have a look at the quote, shall we? There it is. He said there's banter and trying to get under a guy's skin and trying to physically impose yourself on him and try and rub his hair. And that's, I think, the main thing is to try and create reactions from the players, try and put them off their game. And that's more than just, a big tackle, for example. It is comments, for example. It is trying to get them riled up, trying to get them to do something stupid, trying to get them to come off their line too quickly and concede a penalty for offside or go for that 50-50 that they maybe shouldn't. Maybe try and go into a tackle a bit harder than they should and potentially going high in the likes of that. That's what, the whole point is to try and create environment where opponents are going to make mistakes, because at the highest level, the margins of error are so small that any sort of mistake that these players make can be capitalized on. And that's what they try and do. They try and create those environments where those small mistakes can definitely change games. And he said, I mean that that happens for 80 minutes. So in this case, it was for everyone to see because it's not as secluded as what will be in the game, but happens in a game. And then this is the part which I really enjoyed. He said, he was asked if the Irish players are just going to discount. He said, you are masters at it. The Irish, correct, isn't it, the word that he used? The Irish have never fell on their mouths ever. So you ask if Irish players do it as much. Wasn't there a thing about Peter Marnie and Sam Cane? There was. And that was this incident. And I still think it's one of the best comments I've ever heard. And basically what happened is during an altercation when Ireland toured down to New Zealand, when they actually beat New Zealand for the first time in New Zealand, Peter O'Mahony allegedly told Sam Cane that he's just a shit Richie McCaw, which I think is phenomenal banter, by the way. I think that is one of the best chirps I've ever heard on a rugby field. Because, first of all, it's not true in terms of, like, Sam Cane just being a poor version. I mean, Richie McCaw's one of the greatest players ever, but Sam Cane is a phenomenal player in his own right. So when you've got a player as good as Sam Cane, it's quite difficult to try and actually insult them and actually have a bit of that weight. I mean, what are you going to say to, like, a Peter Steph Toy, who's the current World Player of the Year? You can't exactly call him a shit rugby player, can you? So the only way you could potentially have a go at Sam Cane is basically say, you're basically just a B-Tech version of the guy who came before you, which was one of the greatest players ever. So it's not that big of an insult, but it is going to spark a reaction. And to be fair, Sam Cane even actually appreciated it. He basically said, no, it's just good banter. And they said it was a good comment. And he said it doesn't really faze him. And I think it was in the moment. So maybe that kind of adds a bit of perspective. And maybe you look at this with a little bit more perspective, a little bit more sort of lighthearted. In the moment, for example, it's very emotional, very aggressive, and people are very upset about it. I don't think it's cheating. I don't think he faked the cramp. I think he puts himself in situations where he likes to toe the line to Jane Henderson, and he loves to try and have a go at players. And at times, I think he does go over the line, and I've called him out for it as well. But at times, it's just within the moment, you do something, and just that small thing is going to trigger a reaction. And I do think that obviously that did play a part in the reaction that Jack Crowley had after he did get his kick. So it's not like this changed the game. I think that's the big thing that a lot of people are saying. Regardless of whether you like it or not, it had no effect on the game. It made absolutely no difference whatsoever. Munster did not miss a kick after this incident. They'd already missed one. So this actually had no impact on the game whatsoever. But what I'm really enjoying is the fact that it's creating conversation. And I love to see people very fiercely defend it, go after it. Some people going, is this really something that deep? Which is not, as far as I'm concerned. But I love to see the fact that it is creating the narrative. It's creating storylines. And now, for example, next time we see an island game with Jaden Henderson, for example, or even if let's say the Sharks get into the final against Leinster and they lose, we know people are going to go after Jaden Hendrickson. Same time, for example, you just know if the Sharks were to go all the way, there will be some sort of meme with Jaden Henderson winking with a medal, and how that's going to be able to incite a reaction. And this is what I live for. I live for these sort of storylines and the drama that can come with professional rugby, because at the end of the day, the 80 minutes are 80 minutes, but what happens in between that is all about what happens during those 80 minutes. So flashpoints and moments and incidents like this is what creates rivalry. It creates conversation. And I'm all for rivalry. I think it needs to be pretty good-natured, and most of the time I've engaged fans there are, but you want to be able to have those sort of moments where you can bring it up and laugh about it and enjoy it. So I don't think it's that deep. I think Jacques Dinobar has got a very, very good point by basically saying you guys are the masters. I think they are. I think Iron players do, and like something like Peter O'Mahony, he's always been known for that. He's always been known to have that side. So in a different world, Peter O'Mahony would probably do that, to be perfectly honest. And he's had some fantastic moments. He's a phenomenal player, but he lives on the edge, and there's always those players with those sort of personalities. The question is, do we want to really chastise him to the point where we sort of start to really, gives players who are just very boring? Do we sit here consistently trying to sterilize the game in terms of just trying to make everything very bland? We've got to have big personalities, and for whether you like them or not, Jaden Henderson is one of those personalities that will create a lot of controversy. And now we're in it. We're in the middle of Wingate. I love the fact that it's called Wingate. It's phenomenal, especially because it's so close to Wingate. It's brilliant. Loving it. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And let's see how long this continues to be such a big content. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. The future of rugby could be in danger with a breakaway league starting to gain more momentum, aiming at attracting the top 300 men and women rugby players to feature in a league that will take place in 2 separate windows, and basically potentially sort of threaten to derail the entire current club system. And it is being backed with a lot of money and basically a whole franchise system that could be introduced, with NFL teams being approached, for example, Red Bull potentially being keen on taking on teams of different franchises in a league that will basically take it sort of place around the world at sort of iconic destinations, such as Sao Paulo, stadiums such as Camp Nou in Spain, for example, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and basically move away from a union or a club system and into a global franchise system in a similar sort of way to an IPL or a Live Golf. I mention those two because people involved in those deals are involved in this, and could be a complete sort of game changer in terms of the way rugby currently works, and could have massive ramifications for lots of different tournaments. Before we get into it, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so this is what we know about it so far. So one of the main sort of drivers is this man over here, Mike Tyndall, who is obviously a former World Cup winner and is very sort of frequently within different sort of rugby programs. He's also a member of the royal family, and he's one of the driving forces behind 360, which is apparently going to drive generational change in rugby. So according to the Telegraph Sport, they've got some of the details about this sort of revolutionary blueprint. And basically, the main people involved are Tyndall himself, as well as former Bart director of rugby Stuart Hooper, and the lawyer who helped create the IPL, as well as Live Golf. The tournament will basically have 2 separate windows, April to June, as well as August to September, as part of the promise to make players available for internationals. Now, immediately, big red flags for Southern Hemisphere players, because those are when you play internationals. August, September is the current window for the Rugby Championship. Now, as we move towards a global calendar, if something like this were to go ahead, you'd have to then realign the calendar for Rugby Championship and probably have it at a similar time, if not the same time, as the Six Nations. The idea is basically following a Formula One type of season, which will be a Grand Prix model of 12 franchises visiting 16 glamorous venues, which includes Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the Nou Camp, and Sao Paulo. There have been multiple bids for franchises from team owners in other sports, including the NFL and Formula One. So, owners like I think of the Formula One, obviously all the car brands, but like sort of a Petronas, for example, can get involved. Some of the big owners, your Ineoses and the likes of that could look at applying a rugby franchise as part of this. They said that heads of agreements signed with dozens of players, with the top 300 male and female players targeted. One of the big players is Ina Ma. She is the biggest rugby personality in the world. She's not necessarily the biggest person within the rugby world, but she's definitely the most prominent rugby player in the world in terms of the following and on the back of the Olympics, and one of the biggest rugby personalities out there. There will be no relegation, and apparently there are going to be laws to minimize dead time, maximizing fast-paced and non-stop action. Once again, this whole idea of dead time and matches taking too long and not having much being sort of floated as if that's the entire savior of rugby. Obviously, the big thing is the international window. So it says that with April to June or September, R360 explicitly wants to turn rugby into a summer sport and give the game its Super Bowl moment. And it is hoping to launch the competition in September 2026 and expand to 10 male franchises in its second year. Very worrying, I think, if you are the URC Pro, top 14, Premiership, Japan League, stuff like that, because this is something else to contend with. Now, the biggest problem, I think, with this is it's attractive from a player's point of view, because there are salaries being touted as sort of kind of like $2 million type of thing, as kind of what some of the salaries are going to be. Now, if you are a Andre Pollard, now you're going to the Bulls next year, cool. You've been earning sort of 20 million rand, you're probably going to be earning less than that. You're now going to be potentially be offered a 30, 40 million rand contract to go and play effectively 4 months of rugby outside your Springbok window, compared to your URC, which is September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. It's a 9-10 month period that you end up playing. So the biggest sort of threat about this tournament is that if you get the backing of the money, it makes sense from a player point of view, because you're going to be playing less rugby, earning a lot more, and you'll still be available for your nations. Now, Southern Hemisphere, this is going to become potentially very, very difficult. And I think you're going to see a lot of Australian players being targeted, because I think Australian rugby is in a bit of a weird space at the moment. New Zealand, for example, this threatens the All Blacks in every single essence, because at the moment, any All Black player that wanted to be involved in it would by default make themselves unavailable for selection. In terms of the Springboks point of view, we have to wait and see. In theory, if the right players start to go to this tournament, sorry, we'll have no choice but to basically say it's okay, we'll still kind of select them. Will this kind of replace your Japan, for example? Players going to Japan where you do play a little bit less rugby, potentially. But again, the windows don't lie, because it was then meaning that you wouldn't have your players available for August, June, or else they'd only be available for that sort of April, May, June period. So we're talking about 5 months versus 9 months. So it makes sense from a player's point of view. The money's going to make sense. I just don't see where you get the fan pull in immediately. I think that rugby fans are intrinsically quite tribalistic, and franchises are a difficult thing to really get behind. At the moment, I'm a Lions supporter because I grew up in Joburg, and you've got that sort of centerpiece part of the city, the likes of that, and that is very much intrinsic into all the various sort of your big teams. Your VIP, your Lekker Ding type of thing. It's ingrained in sort of a Western Province rugby culture to support the Stormers. The blue and white stripes, for example. The Hoopers, as a lot of people speak about. You talk about overseas. Your Irish teams, your English teams, very much teams of the city and places, and very geographic in the way that they are portrayed. You now have to try and sell franchise. Now, if you do get the best players in the world, like IPL, for example, you've got a very big fan base. But IPL, especially I think these days, has become a league where I don't think you've got that your non-Indian supporters that have that kind of complete dedication to a team. So you've got to find that global audience. The IPL works because you've got a dedicated 1 billion audience, and even a lot of Pakistani people, and you've got all the whole betting stats out of it. So you've got a massive audience there. They don't actually really need the international audience because they've got a big enough local audience. The biggest challenge to a league like this is, where do you get that audience? How do you entice a South African audience, which is one of the biggest rugby audiences out there? How do you entice the French audience, which is very, very tribalistic in terms of very pro-French, and they get behind the top 14? And I don't think they really care about other competitions. So that I think is going to be their biggest challenge. If you bring in the biggest players, there'll be a lot of peaked interest. But you're going to have to, there's a lot of, I think, for me, obstacles you're going to have to try and get around to try and make this a success. Similarly, for example, time zones. Rugby is a very big global game. Now, are you going to be, this will probably be aligned to sort of more European time zones, because you can get the South African audience, French audience, Irish audience, etc., etc. But then how do you get your New Zealand audience? How do you get the Australia audience? How do you get the Japanese sort of audience into this? I think it's a nice thing in terms of potentially could grow like in South America, for example, a North America type of program. But it's very interesting. Now, the main thing I said is this threatens, because at the end of the day, if you've got your best players not playing for URC and the likes of that, these leagues will be watered down. And the biggest problem comes, how do we produce our players if we've got watered down leagues where our best players, go and play in this franchise? How do players get there? Sash Zulu, for example, he'd probably be offered lots of money to go there. How do you find the next Sash Zulu if you don't have a URC, a Curry Cup, and the likes of that to bring these players through? So lots of obstacles. Very interesting to see what happens. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon. Hello everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports for some breaking news. Rassie Erasmus has officially announced his first official Springbok squad for 2025. It is a 54-man squad, and it aligns directly with the alignment camp that he had last month, and plenty of uncut players, which means the likes of Ntokozo Makaza continues his historic rise by being included in an official Springbok squad. It's one thing to get a call up to an alignment camp, it's another thing to be named in a squad itself, and the 54 players will begin their preparations this weekend ahead of the Barbarians game on the 28th of June, and then the incoming series versus Italy and Georgia. There are 5 players missing from the squad that have been ruled out through injury, which are Frans Moherbe, Albert Lowe, Ben Jason Dixon, Dion Fourie, and Trevor Inyakane, whilst there are also a host of uncapped players, which include the likes of Marnus van der Merwe, Neertling Verscheer, Asenati Klabakanya, Kobus Visa, Renzo Duplessis, Vincent Tuka, Jean Augustus, Ethan Hooker, as well as Ntokozo Makaza. A very exciting squad, and interesting to sort of see some of the players that we see. But before we get into it, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So right now, the Sharks, Bull, Leinster all still in the race, and relevant because of players actually involved in the competition. They're still in the squads. But the rest of the players, your Lions players, for example, your Stormers players, all the Japanese-based players will all arrive on Sunday, where they will assemble in Johannesburg to start their on-field commitments, and then the sort of other players will join as. So one of the Bulls, all the Sharks players will join on Sunday as well, and we'll sort of wait to see when we get to see the overseas-based players are sort of based in Europe itself. Let's get into the squad, shall we? And a squad that's been described by Rassie Erasmus as follows. He says, "We are very pleased with the 2 Springbok alignment camps we hosted, and we are excited to have the luxury of announcing a squad with so much depth and talent. Having an expanded squad will not only afford us the opportunity to have productive training sessions, but it will also bode well for the younger players in the group to learn from the senior players, many of whom are Rugby World Cup champions. We take pride in offering talented young players a chance to work firsthand with the coaches and to expose them to standards at an international level, and we are excited to see them showcase their skills at the camp. Last year, he said, we used a total of 50 players last season in the attempt to balance the load on them, while at the same time building towards the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. And with a few more talented youngsters in this group, we hope that we will learn valuable lessons and take a strong claim for what the challenging yet exciting season. They will travel from Monday to Friday before returning home to the weekend, and then they will reassemble on Sunday the 15th of June in Cape Town ahead of the Barbarians game. Let's get into the squad, shall we? And we'll start with the forwards. So, big name over there right in the top is Jean Augustus, invited to his first ever Springbok squad. Lood de Jager also back into the mix after having to sort of overcome lots of injuries and health issues there. Renzo Duplessis struggling to make a Lions side, but into a Springbok squad. Jean-Luc Dupré, the Dupré twins often included in squads and alignment camps back up. Very rarely get game time. Be interested to see if we actually see him on the field. Peter Toy, Thomas Toy, Eben Etzebeth, all sort of straightforward. Thomas Toy, I think him and Wilco Low are going to play a really big part in the upcoming season. Cameron Harnekom and what a time for him at the moment. Really big opportunity to try have a go at the number 8 jersey. Although Jasper Wiese has been included and is said to be in and around the mix for the number 8 jersey. Jean Klein also back in the mix. You got Vincent Cox, Sia Khaleesi, Volkolo, Malcolm Marks, Bongi Manambi, the youngster Intuka Trunu, Salmarat, Franco Mostert, Oxenchair, Ruan Nokia, who I think really took his opportunity last year and showed the block management exactly what he has to offer. And as a result, continues to get selected. Asanate and Clavacania, I sense a block debut coming pretty soon for him, to be perfectly honest. And you then got Quack Smith, Archer Sneeman, Gerard Stennekamp, Vincent Stuka in his first ever box squad as well. And I think we also will see a debut from him. Marco van Staden, Maurice van der Merwe. I mean, he's been quite a bit of a quiet assassin. Not a lot of people have watched a lot of him since his move over to Scarlets, but he was actually on the Bok radar from his Cheetahs days. And I think calling him up is a really good option. I think he's a really good player, to be honest. I'd love to see him back at the Lions, for example, and back and playing in South Africa, but doing a really good job over in Wales. You then got Kobus Wiese and Jasper Wiese. Kobus Wiese, I think, is a big opportunity for him to stake a claim as a genuine contender for the number 4 jersey. Jean Klein, when he's fit, I think, is probably, your best option up to before everyone gets to bed. Lots of people, though, with question marks regarding Samuel Murat and Kobus Wiese has got a chance to genuinely stake a claim for that potential spot. These are your backline players. Lekanya Amkurtli on Damien Dialendi, Faf de Klerk back in the mix after he was left out of a squad last year. And lots of people sort of suggesting maybe that could be the end of him. However, not the case, and he is back in the mix. And be interesting to see what his role is in this season. Did he fall off the pecking order last year? Was it a case of protecting injury? We never really got a lot of information about just why he was left out, but interesting to sort of see in the crunch matches this year where he falls in. Andre Estes and Apele Fassi, Satchfai Magomazulu back in the mix as well after this injury. Jaden Enser is still in the squad, despite lots of people saying he's had a very indifferent season. Now, he'll be somebody who will very much want to sort of prove a point when he gets opportunities, because he hasn't really managed to really nail down a jersey. Jordan Henderson, I think, as well, somebody who I do think has a long Springbok future ahead of him, but needs to start sort of shifting up a gear. Ethan Hooker, well, he's absolutely banging the door down, as is Quine Horn, to be honest. So those two players, young, very talented, very important players for the future. And we need to try and give them as many opportunities as possible, I think, in the next year or two, because I think those two could be very important players come the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Jason Colby, Jesse Creel, Willie LaRue still in the mix, set to make his 100th cap for the box in the sort of income series, very likely. Willie LaRue, Moy Liebach recalled, no issues there. Maximum Pimpi, that name, into Koza Makaza. What a story. I mean, to be called into the squad from UCT. He hasn't been playing for the Stormers, and he's been called into the squad. Kanan Moody, Andre Pollard, Kobus Reinach, Morley Vandenberg, Edel van der Merwe, Damien Willems, as well as Grant Williams, who haven't seen much recently due to injury. So you cover all your bases, really, I think, across the squad. There's no position which I think sort of as a clear red light. The interesting positions for me are obviously fly off with Pollard, Hendricks, Mani, Sasha. You got 4 options there. Fullback, I think, is going to become quite a dogfight, to be honest. I think Damien Willems is probably feeling the heat from Apele Fassi last year, but it's difficult to ignore what Quine Horn is doing week in, week out at the Lions, where he continues to be one of the top players in the URC. He's not just one of the top Lions players, one of the top players in the URC. The centre battles are always going to be interesting, especially with Lekanya. People sort of suggesting that he might have lost a yard of pace. Is he still really in the mix there? Could Ethan Hooker make a claim? And outside centre, I think, could be a position of a bit of a question mark. I mean, inside centre, you've got you got Damien Delend, you've got Andre Estes, and you've got Ethan Hooker can play there. David Willemse can play there. You've got lots of options there. Sasha Zulu can play there as well. Outside centre, maybe fewer options. And that will be an interesting one to see. Henk van Beek, I think if he had been fit and fine for the Lions, he probably would have been included in the squad. But not the case. And if we look at our forwards, very interested to see the tight head options. Neertlin Verschier, Volkolo, Thomas Dutoy, Asnate, and Klabakanya. 4 very exciting options. A bit of a mix in experience. Thomas Dutoy, and Vincent Koch, your most experienced player, and then you're your 4 next to come. And I think that Volkolo should start. And I'll be very interested to see what the pecking order is after that, after him and Vincent Koch. I think those two, and Thomas Dutoy, I suppose, really in the mix. Asnate and Klabakanya and Neertlin Verschier will have to wait their turns, but I do think that we will see them get caps. What do you think? Which players are you most excited to see? Which players do you think are unlucky to miss out? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.
Okay, so can we then work our way backwards. Percy, can I ask you to start in Afrikaans, followed by Leighton? And then from there, we will go to Morgan Peak. Thank you. Percy?
Oh, sorry, Lingua. Thank you so much, Lingua. Wilco, baie dankie vir jou tyd, meneer. Net kortliks, meneer, miskien vir jou 'n soortgelyke vraag op 'n persoonlike vlak. Hoe geniet jy jou seisoen sover, meneer? Want ek sien daar word nogal heel wat baie gemaak oor Wilco Lou die laaste paar weke.
Jong, rugby is altyd vir my lekker en ja, hierdie is 'n besonderse seisoen. Dit voel vir my dis my tweede seisoen hier by die Bulle. Ons het mekaar lekker leer ken in die eerste jaar en ja, dis vir my lekker. Ek geniet dit. Rugby was nog altyd lekker in hierdie seisoen in besonder. Dit voel vir my daar is 'n bietjie meer om voor te speel en ja, ek dink ons is 'n ongelooflike groep bymekaar met ongelooflike talent en die lekker ding bo op dit alles is ons kom goed oor die weg met mekaar en ja, ons geniet mekaar se geselskap en geniet dit om tyd met mekaar te spandeer en ja, ek dink dit is wat dit net nog lekkerder maak.
Kan ek die laaste vraag net op bietjie op druk op jou te plaas, meneer? Jy gaan jou naam en jou status hierdie naweek gestand moet doen van jy speel teen van jou nasionale kollegas en teen 'n span wat ook baie graag in 'n eindstryd wil wees. Wat gaan dit verg van Wilco Lou en hierdie boelspan om 'n W te kry hierdie naweek?
Because weer eens ja, dis nou nie tennis of golf nie, so dis nie Wilco Lou teen die res nie, dis die Bulle teen die Sharks en ek dink die belangrikste gaan wees om as 'n span saam te speel en as 'n pak saam te skram en niks individualisties te probeer doen nie, maar ja, om die krag by die span te kry en ja, energie by die span te kry en ja, om dit vir mekaar te doen en ja, dis nie 'n een-man sport nie, dis 'n 15 en 'n 23 man sport. Dit vat 'n groep en 'n klomp coaches en 'n klomp mense se tyd en energie en ja, ek dink die belangrikste gaan wees om dit as 'n span saam te doen en nie hierdie een teen daai een nie. Die belangrikste gaan wees om dit as 'n span saam te doen.
Wilco, baie dankie en sterkte, meneer.
Dankie, Bruce.
Thanks,
Wilco.
How's it, Wilco? Hope you're well. Wilco, having a look at you mentioned now that you guys are wiser. You guys have been together as a unit for quite a long time. You've been there, done that, reached finals. In the context of Bulls rugby history in the URC, how big is this semi-final for you guys and the fact that it's going to be a derby?
Every game is a big one. In the URC, there's not one team that's an easy game. So every game is a big game. And yeah, if you walk into our change room, there's a champions wall, and you see the history, the rich history of the Bulls with lots of cups they've won. And surely we want to live up to that through the generations, through the history of the Bulls. There's always been successful teams, and I think that's why we do what we do. We do it for a bigger purpose than just ourselves. We do it for an incredible union, and yeah, we do it for our families, and we do it for something and things much bigger than ourselves.
Thanks, Volker. All the best.
Thank you.
Leighton.
Wilco, hoop dit gaan goed daar met jou, man. Net jy het genoem jy wil nie te individualisties raak nie, maar die way hoe Oxy die naweek ook geskram het, hoe sien jy uit na daai stryd met hom? Ek weet jy het ook jou hart uitgeskram en skram is jou ding, maar hoe sien jy uit na daai task?
Ja, dus ek dink dis 'n ongelooflike voorreg om jouself te kan meet teen die beste in die wêreld, Ox en Bongie en Vincent saam met 2 World Cups saam gewen en soos die naweek om teen Piers Koeman te skram wat nie gekies is vir die British and Irish Lions. Dis lekker om jouself te kan meet teen hulle. Dis nooit maklik nie. En ja, soos ek sê, daai is 'n voorreg wat baie lank saam skram en ja, dit gaan definitief 'n groot uitdaging wees, maar daar's tog lekker om jouself te kan meet teen hulle en ja, hulle is 'n baie suksesvolle voorry en ja, die naweek gaan nie 'n maklike een wees nie.
En dan laastens baie mense kyk vas aan jou skrimwerk en hoe agtertoe jy jou teenstanders stoot, maar die kommentators in die afgelope naweek se game het ook gepraat van jou beweeglikheid op die veld, hoe jy by tackles uitkom en alles dit. Is dit soort van die afgelope tyd waarop jy gefokus het om meer daai all-round speler te word en nie net te fokus op jou sterkpunt wat die scrims is nie.
Jongen, ek sal vir hulle met dankie sê vir die pleintjies, maar nee, ek spot sommer. Nee, ag, dit is nog maar deel van die wedstryd. Jy kan nie net in een facet van dit goed wees nie. So ons probeer om amper sê goed te doen in die skram en dan ook nie net te kan skram nie, maar ook te kan bal dra en my werk op ander plekke van die veld ook so goed te kan doen as wat ek moontlik kan. So ja, ek dink dis definitief 'n fokus en ja, as jy kyk al die ander vaskoppe in die kompetisie is vaskoppe wat goed kan skram, goed kan tackle, hulle maak hulle clean. So ja, ek dink dis nie net dit wys net weer eens dat die URC is 'n goeie kompetisie om in te speel. Die standaard van rugby is ongelooflik en ja, soos ek nou gesê, daar's nie 'n maklike game in die URC nie. En ek dink jy daar's enige kompetisie in professionele sport ooit 'n maklike wedstryd nie. So ja, dit is maar 'n fokus vir almal van ons om 'n goeie hoogry te hê en ja, hopelik kan dit nog verbeter.
Cheers man.
Baie dankie.
Thanks so much, Leighton. Can we then go to Ronaldo? From Ronaldo, we will go to Devin H.
Hey, Wilco, Ronaldo here. Just want to check from your personal move back from Harlequins to the Bulls. You obviously played extremely well there, and Harlequins was obviously very sad to lose you. But how's the transition be for you coming to the Bulls and now obviously playing in another semi-final this weekend? What does that feel to you like?
Yeah, I think being at Harlequins was an incredible move for me and my family. We loved it there, enjoyed the rugby, and I think the biggest thing is playing in a different competition. You learn a lot, not just from playing in the Northern Hemisphere, playing in the cold and the wet, but we also go on tours there where it's cold and wet, and then you have experienced that a little bit. And yeah, coming back, it's lovely to be back in South Africa and close to family. And yeah, to be at an incredible union like the Bulls. So yeah, it's we loved our time at Harlequins, but yeah, it's just as great being back in South Africa, being at the Bulls, close to family, and yeah, playing with an incredible group of players. We've got experience to the max with Willie and Johan and some of the boys, and then we've got exciting new talent like Cameron and some of the younger boys coming through. So yeah, I think we've got a nice group of players, and yeah, I think the most important thing is we enjoy each other's company, and it's nice to come into work and there's a vibe, and yeah, the boys want to be, and I think that's a big thing for us.
Sterkte vir die naweek.
Baie dankie.
Hi there, Wilco. Just the one. You guys have the 6 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. You will know the result, what happens in Dublin. If something has to go down there and Glasgow pull off a win, you kind of know you're playing for another home final. What could that be like going into the match against the Sharks?
Yeah, definitely. It's a semi-final, so obviously you play to win. And yeah, we're taking this game, and whatever happens afterwards happens. But yeah, our focus is fully on the Sharks. They are not an easy team to play against. They've got all-around good kicking game, an incredible scrum, a good maul. So we're not looking any further than just Saturday at 6 p.m. Playing against the Sharks. But yeah, whatever happens afterwards happens. But yeah, our focus is set on the Sharks and playing the best we can Saturday at 6.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Ken Pollard.
Thanks, Lunga. How's it, Wilco? Wilco, it's very obvious that the scrum is one of the Bulls' major weapons that you use to put opposition under pressure. And it was kind of apparent in that second half against Edinburgh that's kind of where the comeback started, where you started turning things around. Do you guys, like during games, do you, I don't want to say hold back, but are there times when you sort of go, okay, we need to shift the momentum in this game now, and let's go back to the scrum, and we're gonna kind of build it from there to shift the momentum?
Yeah, I don't think it's a set thing where we decide, okay, the first 2 scrums we're not going to go. I think it's as the momentum goes in the game. If you feel you get dominance early in the scrum, you can build on that. If you get momentum in the maul or the kicking game, I think it's just it's where the momentum comes from. And like Saturday in the first half, the scrums was a bit scrappy, and then we had to shift our focus to something to get our momentum back. And yeah, when the momentum comes, obviously it's a bonus. And this weekend against the Sharks, it's going to be a tough battle. So it's not a case of we decide when we want to go. Obviously, we pick our times where we want to attack and where we want to not. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. But we play where the momentum is.
And Wilco, I know you made it quite clear that it's not you against Ox, or it's not an individual game on Saturday, and obviously your focus is on getting into the final. But at the back of your mind, you must be thinking that a good showing on Saturday in the scrums could really help you get that number 3 jersey for the Springboks. And then also, if you can, just a word on Tutuko Mkunu, who had a really good second half in the scrums as well for the Sharks last week.
Yeah, the Sharks in the Munster game, they had incredible scrums all the way through the whole 100 minutes. And yeah, in the second half especially, they got a lot of dominance there. And yeah, like I said, we're focusing on this week and on Saturday. It's obviously a dream to play for the Boks. And yeah, for now we're focusing on doing our job well. And whatever happens after that. But yeah, for now we focus on us as the Bulls and team to do well on Saturday.
Thanks, good luck.
Game, and after that, and after doing it even more, maybe just talk to us about that try and how.
Yeah, like you said, Brendan, like I hit good form at the right time, and yeah, just glad I could contribute with that try. Really enjoyed it. As you could see, the spirits were quite high in that second half. So yeah, we're just happy to pull it through, and obviously the faithful was steadily behind us.
I know there's a lot of talk about your kicking and in the past games, etc. But it's really seen on Saturdays if that confidence came through in your attacking game as well. You feel more settled in the 10 now and they're ready to obviously contribute more?
Yes, definitely. And yeah, I know last 2 games probably had a few hiccups with the kicking tee, but yeah, Coach Jake spoke to me half time, and yeah, it was really nice to hear that he's backing me, and yeah, just gave me a bit more confidence, and yeah, enjoyed that second half.
Thanks, man. Good. Enjoy this weekend.
Thanks.
Isaac Keegan, how you doing?
Good, thanks yourself, sir.
No, all good, thanks. Just quick question. This the change to scrum half in the first place, how did that happen? Because obviously we're now talking about you changing to, going back to fly off. How did the change to scrum half happen in the first place?
Yeah, actually I was juggling in between the two at school level, so I really didn't make up my mind on which one I was going to focus on. But yeah, started here at the Bulls as a scrum half under 21. Obviously, we were quite a competitive side, and yeah, I think that's where they needed me at that moment, and stuck with that position till Coach Jake and Coach Chris asked me if I'm comfortable to move, and yeah, they tried me there a few trainings, and yeah, I think I did well enough.
When the season started, you were obviously the guy that kind of like was backup for scrum half and fly off on the bench if you guys had a 6-2 split situation going on. Yeah. What's it like to sort of now find yourself in a situation where you're the guy everyone's looking to, obviously as the 10 and almost like the only available 10 as well? Has that added a bit of pressure on, into your outlook?
Yeah, obviously there's gonna be pressure. As you said, everyone looks for you or looks to you at difficult times. But I have to say that I'm enjoying it. I thrive in the position, and yeah, I just try to do my best.
Okay. Assuming Kasim, you're good, can we go to Anami, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, Keegan. Yeah, this follows on what my colleagues just asked you. I mean, you've obviously now played a few games at 10, showed that you can do it. Looking ahead, are you ready to take full responsibility for the 10 jersey, knowing that Andre is coming, or would you then just reserve to move back to your more familiar position of scrum off?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be back in both of those positions. But at the moment, I feel like I can bring a lot in the 10 jersey, and I feel like that is where I can improve my game a bit more and stay there for quite a while. And yeah, obviously that's where they need me at the moment, and yeah, I'd like to thrive there. But
Thank you.
Cool. Ken Pollen.
Lunga, can I donate my question to one of the guys who've got their hands up? Because mine have pretty well been asked for Keegan.
Thanks, Ken. Nicholas Sal.
Look, I think
He hasn't
Nicholas
got a
says-
microphone.
His mic is off. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wonderful. That should have covered everybody who's a regular. Carl Fabian, please.
Keegan, what's the mood in the camp? I mean, I think that's the most important. How important? Obviously, you see the match is quite important, but the mood in the camp and your, yeah, the mood in the camp.
Yeah, it's obviously playoffs, semi-finals, so everyone has a job to do, and the mood is quite good. Everyone's just focusing on their job, and yeah, we just need to win these games, and everything will be fine. I think if everyone knows what to do and do what they're supposed to, yeah, it would even go even better. Especially with that second half performance over the weekend, I think just boosted the vibe in the camp.
All right, cool. Thanks, Carl. Nathan.
Thank you very much, Lunga. Good day, Keegan. Keegan, I just one question. I mean, just looking at how things transpired last week in Durban, have you been practicing your goal kicking during work-ons?
Yeah, I mean it's a regular for goal kicker to be kicking for post at training, and yeah, these last two games obviously had a few hiccups, like I said earlier on, but yeah, that's just a given to keep on working on them, and eventually it will click and you will hit form on the kicking tee again.
And then Percival for Afrikaans, thank you.
Lunga, thank you so much for the opportunity. Goeiemôre. Keegan, net 2 Afrikaanse vragies gevinnig, meneer. Keegan, kan ek jou vinnig vra? 'n Soortgelyke vraag as my kollega gevra het. Hoe is die gees in die kamp in Afrikaans, meneer? As mens kyk na julle vertoning die afgelope naweek teen Edinburgh, is daar die tipe rugby wat julle hierdie naweek wil speel teen die Sharks? Dat julle in die tweede helfte liewers beter speel of glo julle moet 'n beter begin teen hierdie naweek?
Ja, Percival, kamp die vibe is goed in die kamp. En soos jy nou gesê het, ons die doel is obviously om 'n volle 80 te kan speel soos ons hy laaste 40 gespeel het. Ja, die Sharks is obviously 'n baie ander span as wat Edinburgh is, so ek dink jy kan nie self te speel jy beplan maar vir goedjies wat spanne sterk is in en waar hulle mee 'n bietjie sukkel. So ja, ek dink dis maar net ons job om hulle uit te figure en te doen wat ons gesê is.
En dan net laastens, Keegan, jy het deurgangs deur jou perskonferensie so genoem dat jy verkies deesdae om losskakel te speel, jy spesialiseer in die losskakelposisie. Sou jy verkies om hierdie naweek liewers 'n wen-3 te druk of sou jy daai doelskop op kompetisie wil hê aan die einde van hierdie wedstryd hierdie naweek op Loftus?
It's 'n moeilike vraag, maar obviously dit gaan nie met my nie. Solank ons net die wen kry hierdie naweek. As dit enige ander persoon moet wees wat 'n 3 druk op die doelskop moet skop. Either way sal ek baie happy wees.
Baie and Keegan.
Cool. Thank you so much, Keegan. Nico, can I ask that you jump on the chair? Thank you.
Thanks, Lunga.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good evening and welcome. We're live here on Forever Sports. It's Vodacom URC time. It's a derby of the ages. The Vodacom Bulls up against the Hollywood Bet Sharks at Loftus Versfeld. The good news is we will have a South African team in the final. I guess the bad news is for the losing team, you won't find yourself there. Will it be the Sharks? Will it be the Bulls? That remains to be seen, but it's an absolute pleasure to take you through this one live here on Forever Sports. From myself, Rude. I will take you through the starting 23 of each team. But in case you missed it, Leinster, top of the table in the Vodacom URC regular season, beating Glasgow Warriors quite comfortably, in fact. And they will host the final. Which of these two South African teams will join them in the final? The Vodacom Bulls, of course, under Jake White with 7 consecutive victories up to this point. They'll be looking to make it 8 and 9. The Sharks, a tense quarter-final last week at Munster, to say the least. We had Winkgate with Jaden Hendrickse over Jack Crowley. We had a penalty shootout for the ages, and we're definitely in for some exciting action here on the channel. Thank you to all the viewers tuned in. Do give your score predictions, and of course, tell us from where in the world you are tuned in, watching this titanic clash. Willie Leroux, of course, been pulling the strings for the Vodacom Bulls, but amongst others, Johan Goosen back for the Vodacom Bulls. For the Sharks, a big loss during the week in training in the form of Ebenezer Beth, who's down and out, and no doubt for the Sharks, that's a big blow. The Bulls slept a little bit more comfortably last night, knowing he's not in the starting 23, but nonetheless, the bounce of the ball, discipline, the crowd, the motivation, the intensity, the passion, everything goes into the pot. You make a mix. Who's going to come out on top? And as we talk like that, I'm going to take you through the starting 23 of each side, starting with the home side from 1 to 23 at loose head prop for the Bulls, Jan Hendrik Wessels, continuing his rise in the professional game, of course, in Rassie's Springbok squad for the June-July international season. Look out for him, Johan Grobler at hooker. And then an all Springbok front row in the form of Wilco Lowe. Look out for the scrums to be something titanic in terms of a struggle. If you look at the likes of the Sharks from 1 to 3, Oxen Chair, Bongi Mbonambi, Vincent Koch. There's a battle within a battle, no doubt. At number 4 for the Bulls, Kobus Visa. His locking partner, JF van Heerden. 6, Marcel Coetzee, perhaps the ugly stepson, one could call it, in terms of Russie's plans. Not in the mix as a stand, but a fantastic Vodacom UR season up to this point. Captain Ruanokia goes from lock to number 7 flank, and to make up the pack of forwards is Cameron Hanekom at number 8 for the Vodacom Bulls. At 9, we've got Ambrose Papier and Johan Goosen at 9 and 10. Pulling the strings there for the Vodacom Bulls. At 11, Sebastian de Klerk really coming to his own this season. At number 11, 12, Harold Foster. 13, David Krill, another unlucky one, you could say, in terms of Russie's plans, overlooked for the moment. But one feels he's going to get a look in at some or other point. Able to kick at goal as well, so multifaceted in terms of his skills. Kanan Moody at 14, a regular in the box squad. And then, what can we say about Willie Leroux that hasn't been said already? 16 to 23, we've got Aka van der Merwe, Aluluto Chakweni, Mornay Smith, Janus Kirsten, Marco van Staden from the bench will be looking to put the lights out of the Sharks. Will Eskom, Zach Berger 21, Keegan Johannes 22, and 23, Devin Williams. For the Sharks, we've mentioned that fantastic Springbok front row already, but let's go through them again. At 1, Oxenche, Mbongi Mbonambi, Vincent Koch, 1, 2, and 3 respectively. Corner roll taking the place of Yebenetsebeth, who was injured in training in the week. Big blow for the Sharks, but he'll be looking to fill in those massive boots of Yebenetsebeth and make a statement for the Sharks. Emil van Heerden, his locking partner. 6, James Venter. 7, the newcomer to the Springbok squad, Vincent Situka. He'll be looking to make a statement. A lot of people will be saying this is not a Springbok child, but you can bet your life a lot of these players will be looking to make a statement. The Springboks, of course, look forward to the Barbarians. 2 games against Italy and then Georgia in the incoming international season. So these players really looking to put their hand up in terms of Russie's plans moving forward. Siya Kolisi, our captain, fantastic at number 8 for the Sharks. Jaden Hendrickse, well, a lot can be said about him from last week. You got to believe it. He was cramping up, kicked his goal, and then there was a lot of boo-ha, I suppose, if you could call it that, from the international media. Well, I'll say, shut up, let him do what he does. And he's won over a lot of hearts. Jaden Hendrickse, sportsman, unsportsmanlike, should I say. They said there were whispers in the corridor, but he does what every scrum-half does, and that's getting to the mind of other players. We've seen some crazier things happen on a rugby field, and that one was simply sublime from Jaden Hendrickse. 10, Jordan Hendrickse, his brother, will be looking to pull the strings at fly half. Makazola Mapimpi at 11. Stalwart of the Sharks, stalwart of the Springboks. And no doubt we'll look for his bullocking runs on that left wing. Always industrious as ever. Andre Esterhuizen, of course, always getting over the advantage line at number 12. The Bulls will have to shore up on defense, keep their shape, keep their discipline, man up one-on-one, because Andre Esterhuizen is coming for you. And look out, Bulls. Lucanio Arm at 13. Ethan Hooker at 14, another newbie in the Springbok setup. And of course, the weekend special in the form of Apelele Fassi at 15. 16 to 23 for the Sharks. Fezembata, Tutukam Chunu, Andre Jacobs, Dion Slubbert, Pepsi Buthelezi, Bradley Davids, your beauty, kicking the final goal in that penalty shootout. Who in their life would have imagined you'd be alive to witness a penalty shootout in a rugby union game? And it's that man, Bradley Davids, who stepped up to the plate took on all the pressure on his shoulders, slotted the kick, and the Sharks find them here at Loftus because of that man, Bradley Davids. Lorenzo Julies at 22, one could say somewhat unlucky to miss out for the moment, but look out, he's still a youngster on the rise in Russie's plans. He's on the back burner. He'll be there soon. You better believe it. And number 23, Yal Penkle, the referee for the game, Andrew Brace from Ireland. He'll be assisted by Sam Grove White from Scotland and Adam Jones from Wales. We're at Loftus. Kickoff is in a couple of minutes. We're in for a titanic struggle. I want to hear the score predictions here on the channel. What do we have so far? I got a couple of Sharks fans in here, a couple of Bulls fans. Isla Koch says Bulls will win this game, I beg your pardon. Dirk Offfield says Bulls Boer. Throwing it in with the English and Afrikaans there. Tian Christian Kukamu says go Sharks. Alan van Lochenberg says go Bulls. You can do it again and again. Make Jake White happy today. If you haven't filled up your refreshments as of yet, I suggest you do it now. This is going to be a cracker of a game. Unfortunately, the first semi-final perhaps didn't quite live up to expectations. The defending champions going down quite handsomely to Leinster, who will in fact host the final. No matter who wins here tonight. If you're a Bulls fan, I want to hear it. Where you tuned in from? If you're a Sharks fan, where are you watching from? Give your score predictions. We're in for an epic ride here on Forever Sports. We mentioned a couple of those newbies, Ethan Hooker amongst others, Vincent Chichuka. You kind of feel for a couple who have missed out. Worth mentioning is the likes of perhaps Ruben van Heerden for the Stormers, Lorenzo Julies for the Sharks. But you want to think the season is long and Rassie has his plans moving forward. And as they say, he's in your head, Rassie. Looking for that three-peat, back-to-back World Cups come 2027. The build-up has started now. After naming that squad, he'll be looking on quite gingerly this evening, no doubt, making sure none of these players get injured. Through the intensity, through the passion of this semi-final, the Springbok squad, of course, will assemble this coming week. But all that aside, it's Vodacom URC action now. It's perfect conditions at Loftus. Not quite a full house, but a good support base for the home side, of course. How much will that count in their favour psychologically? The Sharks coming off 100 minutes plus rugby against Munster of Ireland, victorious in that penalty shootout. But they're up against it here, against a team who are unbeaten in the last 7 games consecutively. But it's a battle up front. We know the scrum. The engine room is where it all happens. Oxenchair, Bongi and Banambi and Vincent Koch up against the likes of the Bulls' front three in the form of Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Johan Grobler and Wilco Lowe, who's showing some real form. You feel whoever can get the psychological ascendancy will be able to at least dominate in terms of the referee's calls. You get a penalty at scrum time, you can put the ball out. Territory becomes your friend and you can set up the platform. But it's not only at scrum time the Wolves want to dominate, or the Sharks for that matter. It's at line-out time. It's in terms of their discipline. The unforced errors must be kept to a minimum, but the players are coming out onto the field. We're building up to the Vodacom URC semi-final. As we see Sia Khaleesi leading out the Hollywood Bet Sharks. Has he got a big game in him? They'll be sorely missing the likes of Yebenetsabeth, but you look for the likes of Jordan Hendrickse, amongst others. A whole host of Springboks in the Sharks team. Underfoot the conditions. Sublime for rugby. Ruan Nakia, the captain of the Bulls, leading out his side. From lock to flank he goes. What's the plan there? Jake White knows what he's doing. You got to back him. They finished the regular season second on the log, only behind Leinster. And they've got the home crowd in their favour as they come out onto the field. It's blue flags everywhere. The Sharks will take note, but they can't allow it to get inside their head at the moment. It's all about focus, intensity, passion. As the man in the middle, Andrew Brace. It will be the Sharks kicking off from left to right. Wesley de Kock says Sharks gaan wen. Easy. Just like that, Wesley. Lungile Tibe. Any links to watch the game live? Well, you can listen to it here on Forever Sports. We're almost underway. It's the semi-final. Vodacom URC is just about coming to a conclusion. Who will join Leinster in the final and travel to the Aviva as Jordan Hendrickse gets us underway? And he hits it just inside the 22. It's taken. The Bulls are away via Sebastian de Klerk. Immediately on the attack goes the left winger. Good ball retention and security. The Bulls can make it happen now. It's Willie Leroux. Puts in a cross kick. Who wants it? Kanan Moody can't get his hands on the ball. Just his fingertips. But a fast start for the Vodacom Bulls. Not able to get it out of the air. There was Ruan Nakia. But in to save the day and make a good couple of metres upfield was Sebastian de Klerk. The Bulls recycled from left to right. But it was Kanan Moody who just grasped it on his fingertips and into touch. It's going to be Bongi Mbonambi on this right-hand touchline, just inside the Sharks 22 now. The line out is safe, and it's Oxenche who sets up a ruck. Well met on defence there. The Sharks will look from the base here with a kick from Jaden Hendrickse. It's high, it's handsome, it's contestable. But Kanan Moody, well, he is in the mood. Gets underneath the ball, sets up another ruck. The Bulls in possession, just not able to hold on to that pass was Johan Goosen there. Or in fact, it was Willie Leroux. Adjudged by the referee to go forward. The pass perhaps not in the breadbasket for Willie Leroux there. An unforced error there, costing the Bulls possession. Yeah, we see the first scrum. We're only 2.5 minutes in. We see the Vodacom Bulls with a massive advantage at scrum time. 950 kilos, plays 889. But it's not just size that matters, it's technique. The Sharks will have possession. Alan van Lochenberg. 'n blou bal weet nie van verloor af nie. 'n blou bal weet nie van die vloer af nie. I like it, Alan. That's the spirit we want here. But it's the Sharks in possession. Fussy Tuma Pimpy. He's away down the left wing. Lovely little chip ahead. The ball is loose. And into touch. What does the referee say? Shout out Bianca Barnard, my lovely. What a pleasure. Supporting the Bulls tonight by default is Bianca. But a judge to have gone forward there by Willie LaRue. James Trollope. Bala Aldipat. Peter Buerta. Let's go, Sharkies. Sharks going to win all the way from Rustenburg. Well done. On that, Alan, you got some lyrics there, brother. Israel, the Shika, let's go Bulls, with the fire emoji. And they do get it. At line-out time, it's Mapimpi who has possession now. Jaden Hendrickson to his. Emil van Heerden takes it up. The Sharks via Vincent Koch inside the 22. Right to left they go, centre field. The Bulls have to be resolute on defence. It's Jordan Hendrickson. Slightly high on the tackle there. The referee says it's okay. Oxen chair. Ready to carry as ever. Quick recycling from the Sharks here. It's Mbonambi. Not going forward for the moment. But it's fussy from Hendrickson. Well tackled. Still in possession now. The Sharks have gone back a few metres, look to chip it over the top by Hendrickson. But it's Willie LaRue this time. A rather awful pass from Willie LaRue there. What was he thinking? We know he's got the magic, but on that occasion, throwing a wobbly old pass, looking for Kanan Moody, but going forward in the process, the Sharks will have possession. Ideal spot if you're a Sharks fan, not so much if you're a Bulls fan. Willie LaRue there perhaps could have done better, kicking the ball upfield. John Steyn. Intercept try coming up. As jy onder die helm gebore. Can you see into the future, John Steyn? Where you tuned in from, brother? Carl van Skalkwyk, let's go, Bulls. Wesley de Kock, Sharks. Can't imagine that's how you were saying it. We need the passion. Passion. Yeah, this evening, no matter if you're a Bulls or Sharks fan. It's a big derby. The last 5 encounters between these two sides. The Sharks up by 3-2. And it's a massive scrum from the Bulls off the Sharks ball. There you have it. It is a try. It's Ethan Hook who scores. Would you believe it? Someone called it, was it John? Unbelievable. The Bulls scrumming the Sharks off their own ball and plucking it out of the sky, going over for the try. Is Ethan Hooker. What are they checking here? They gone up to the TMO. Sean is probably holding his breath at the moment. What's the call here from Andrew Brace? Was he onside? That's the question they're looking for here. In consultation with the TMO. John Steyn from Harties in the northwest. Oh, no try, John. Unfortunately, you just about called it. But we're coming back. It's going to be a Bulls penalty offside at scrum time. The Bulls with a massive shove. Shout out to that whole Bulls pack. from 1 to 8. Making mincemeat of the Sharks. Pack of forwards there. Rather blushing look on the faces of Ox and Chair amongst others. Won't like that one little bit. But let's give credit where it's due. The Bulls there. Massive. That could set the tone for the game. It's the Bulls just on their own 10-metre mark on this right-hand touchline. The Sharks have gone up to contest into touch, and in the process, unfortunately for the Sharks, have gone back into their own half from the steal. So the Bulls will have another opportunity, but look out, the Bulls. You want to get your set plays right. And on that occasion, Ruan Okia losing out to a more eager Sharks team, plucking that one, but unfortunately the ball going into touch. But from the next phase of play, it's Papier who's away. Now the pass is clear to Sebastian de Klerk. Yes, man! That's what we do! If you're a Bulls fan, would you say it any other way? Sebastian de Klerk all day. And it's try time for the Bulls. First phase play at the line out. You got to feel for the Sharks. Stole the last line out. The bounce of the ball, put it into touch. The Bulls set up again, sent it wide. He had a lot of work to do, did the left winger. But it's Lucanio Hum and Ethan Hooker there. In 6s and 7s on defence. The Vodacom Bulls in for the first try. Glorious stuff from the left winger. The home fans in full delight here as Johan Goosen backs himself. It's sailing! It's over! Yes, man! Try time! Try time! Conversion is successful from Johan Goosen. It's a 7-pointer. And the Vodacom Bulls hit the lead. The Sharks denied. And in the blink of an eye, Sebastian de Klerk puts the Bulls on the board. Go Bulls! Go Bulls! I'll say it twice because it's just that nice. Ambrose Papier puts it high from the restart. Great take out of the air there from Fussy as the Sharks set it up. Now it's Esterhuizen. Can he find front foot ball now? The Sharks just about inside their own half. Jaden to Jordan. He puts it high. It's Ethan Hooker. It's contestable. Who wants it? The touchline wants it, but it's going to be a Sharks throw-in. Sia Khaleesi amongst others in the thick of things there. But the bounce of the ball goes into touch. Just about on the 10-metre mark on this left-hand touchline. It will be a Sharks throw-in. We've seen early on now what the Bulls can do. At scrum time, the Sharks have got to respond. They've conceded a try. They've got to set up their own set play here. Execute with distinction. They do that up to this point. Tutuka takes it up on their own 10-metre mark, 15 metres in from this left-hand touchline. It's Hendricks again who puts it high, this time a little bit too far. Sebastian de Klerk. Like a rhino who got it all this morning, just charges ahead, sets up a ruck. The Bulls hoof it upfield, and the Sharks will have to respond here via Fussy, who puts it high. Can he collect his own kick? Who wants it? Billy LaRue to Sebastian de Klerk. It's all frenetic at the moment. The Sharks, you can see, looking for the kicking territorial game. Fussy almost did well there to regather. Billy LaRue throwing away, perhaps in a hurry, scurry there. But in the process, the ball going into touch. Shout out John Stain saying, awesome commentator. That includes us. Feels like we are watching together. Of course we are, John. Anele tika tika. Go Sharks. But in possession now are the Vodacom Bulls. Working their way upfield with the driving maul. It's going nowhere. The Sharks have done well to stifle that. And in the process, get the scrum down. But are they looking forward to the scrum down? That's the question. Chris van Toonde asks, waar speel hulle? Hulle speel op Loftus Versveld in Tshwane, at the home of the Blue Bulls. Shout out Chris van Toonde, where are you watching from? Ruan van der Bank says, al wat jy sien is 'n blou machine. You're a poet and you know it. Martin van Rensburg, easy win for the Sharks. Thanks for tuning in, Martin. What's your score prediction? Alan van Lochenberg, I got you, bro. I got you. Don't you worry. The Sharks in possession now. After that scrum, they've navigated it successfully. They're up and over into the 22. Jaden Hendricks said to Mapimpi, looking to bash his way over that vantage line. Can he do it? Into touch. Running out of space there. Makazola Mapimpi. T-Rex. You beautiful human being. Looks like he's down injured for the moment. We hope he's okay. But running into a couple of Bulls defenders there. I wonder if it's a head knock. Looks like it was Johan Goosen there. The fly off of the Bulls. Mapimpi looking for the handoff. Goosen did just enough. And the touchline said, welcome both of you. We're all in this together. And of course, so are we here on Forever Sports with all the fans tuned in. A special thank you to everyone tuned in here. Let's rugby together. What better place to do it than here on Forever Sports? In picture now, we see Andre Esterhuizen hasn't quite had the ball to do his busting runs upfield, getting over that vantage line. The Sharks can recycle quickly from that. But it's easier said than done. The Bulls for the moment, perhaps not having the better in terms of territory, but defending well and showing that intensity. Couple unforced errors on both sides, but we have a penalty here for the Bulls. Playing the man in the air, says the referee, Andrew Brace, taking no nonsense. That's what we like to see. Of course, we like to see consistency as well as the game wears on, but the Bulls do decide to put it into touch. 15 minutes has flown by here at Loftus. It's the Bulls who will get a reprieve in terms of territory now. With another line out set play, Johan Grobler to feed. No contest from the Sharks as the Bulls put it high via the boot of Goosen. Who wants it? It's lost the Sharks under scrum advantage here. A contestable kick worked out for the Sharks. It's Lekanyo looking to break his way clear. Has to get rid of it, and in the process, David Creel bundling up Elefasi into touch. He's got a point to prove. Does the outside centre. Taking on the Springbok fullback there. And unfortunately for Apelele Fassi, just running out of space. On this left-hand side of the field, the Bulls will have another line out. Not really conjuring up much. Oh, the Sharks on attack at the moment. You kind of feel the Bulls so far in this first quarter have been somewhat in control, and the driving maul was it sacked by the Sharks? No, says the referee, sacked by the own men as Grobler looks to come charging away up to the Sharks 10-meter mark now. It's Jan-Hendrik Wessels wrestling past one of the defenders. Jaya van Heerden sets up another ruck. Papiertje Goosen who puts another high bomb up. It's Kane and Moody. Good in the air. Can he hold on to it? He almost did. He bobbled loose for a moment there. 15 meters in on the Sharks 10-meter mark on this right-hand touchline. The Sharks will have a put into the scrum. Kane and Moody just about had it in his grasp. But unfortunately, the referee on the spot. There's knock on, son. Put into the Sharks. Will we see an in and out here? It's scrum time. The Sharks don't want to linger longer. Tense look on the face of Jake White. Orders being barked out by John Plumtree. It's all happening here at Loftus. A very healthy crowd in. The home fans up to this point will be happy with the 7-0 advantage to the Bulls. But the strong scrum this time from the Sharks. And this time, I beg your pardon, Andre Esterhuizen gets over the advantage line. The Bulls via Johan Goosen, not behind the last man's feet at ruck time, playing the 9. And the Sharks will have an opportunity now to put the ball deep. Now, in fact, Jordan Hendrickse says to the referee, you know what, I have a go here. He's going for the 3-pointer. Inside his own half, we're about 56 meters here on the high felt. Well within his range. We've seen him strike it before, breaking the hearts of the Lions in the Currie Cup. But it is Jordan Hendrickse for the Sharks here. He's got to get his compass on point. He's got the distance, you feel. There's Fuma in those legs. Jordan Hendrickse for the Sharks. Focused on the ball. Focused on the posts. Makes his stride. The strike is good. It's flying. It's wide. Going past the left-hand upright. On that occasion, he had the distance well within his range, but just not the direction. Andreas Viljoen, lekker Bulls. And the Bulls restart now. It's in the hands of Vincent Chuchuka. Called up by Rassie Erasmus, but he's met on defence. Keep those Springbok thoughts to yourself, son. We've got a job at hand here. As the Sharks recycle, though, it's Mapimpi. He's carried back by Jan-Hendrik Wessels, manhandled. Kolisi can't hold on to it. The Bulls will have a put into the scrum, just about centre field. Just off centre on this left-hand side. But on the Sharks 10-meter mark, Kolisi there, looking rather tentative to grab that ball. These Bulls are coming, charging. Hell for high leather. Harold Foster on that occasion, just doing enough to cause Sia Kolisi to look up. And the Vodacom Bulls doing just enough to disrupt that possession from the Sharks. The first quarter has flown by here at Loftus. It's the Bulls who lead by 7-0 in case you've just tuned in. it must be said, both sides perhaps not putting too many phases together. It's been frenetic stuff. What would you expect? Anything other than that in terms of this sort of derby? The Bulls again looking for a strong scrum. The Sharks holding their own. The Bulls playing down the left-hand side. Over the advantage line, it's Papier who goes digging in. Marcel could see industrious as ever. Papier now. Harold Foster putting his head down, setting up another ruck. Here's Marcel Coetzee up and over the advantage line. Jan Hendrik Wessels to Grobler. The hands, sublime from the Bulls. They're only 14 meters out now, or in fact 10 meters out, I should say. My mathematics at school perhaps not as great as it could have been, but it's turned over by the Sharks. But the kick was not good from Hendrickse. The kick, though, this time from the Bulls. Simply sensational stuff, because it's Kane and Moody in the corner. Well, you kind of feel for the Sharks there. Jaden Hendrickse, get yourself some new boots, son. Slipped there. Not what he was looking for. But the kick from Johan Goosen to find Kane and Moody. On point. Up and over for the try. But Pimpy could just slide with him, son. It was so nice the Bulls had to do it twice. That's their second try. The conversion is going to be a challenge. But what's wonderful kick pass there to set up Kane and Moody, the Sharks. Could he afford that inside their own territory? They did well to turn it over. But Hendrickse, Jaden Hendrickse, unfortunately, at the most inopportune time, slipped. In fact, it was Sebastian de Klerk. I'm giving the credit to Jan Goosen here. 11-14. You go, you beauty. Woohoo! Well done. Yes, son. The Bulls, the conversion sails wide, unfortunately, on that occasion. But hit double figures. It's 12-0. Where are all the fans tuning in from here on Forever Sports? Alan van Lochenberg is calling for you to tell us, please. Around the world, in South Africa. The restart from the Sharks is made. It's Ambrose Papier, shape from the base, offside. Surely, corner roll. Get out of here. The referee says nothing, but it's Fussy who's wrapped up on defence. The Bulls just look that little bit more eager. Kane and Moody shooting out the line. He's set up an opportunity out wide here for the Sharks to get up over the advantage line. They've done so. Mapimpi playing at 9 to Vincent Koch. Mapimpi again, they're up to the 22, the Sharks. Now they've got to respond. They've had nothing up to this point. It's a penalty advantage. One of the Bulls players there taking his sweet time to roll clear after the tackle. Jaden Hendrickse smart enough to pass it straight into his back. The Sharks on a free play here. Corner roll, can't find Vincent Koch. Johan Grobler hoofs it upfield. But we're coming back. The Sharks have made nothing of that. Will we see them look for another 3? Decision time now. The Sharks, of course, missing the Springbok stalwart in the form of Eben Etzebeth. Just that physical presence. Somewhat lacking at the moment for the Sharks. Martin Shields, daar sy Sharks, weet nie of hulle kom of gaan nie, hulle gaan hom vat. Listen to Martin, Bulls fans. We've got another Sina van Rensburg on our hands here. Is he calling for a Bulls victory? But the Sharks will have an opportunity to close the gap. 12-0. They've taken the opportunity to get the 3 well within range in front of the posts. 20-odd meters out. No mistake this time from Jordan Hendrickse. The Sharks are on the board. It's taken all of 26-odd minutes. Smart play there from Jaden Hendrickse, realizing that one of the Bulls players was lingering too long on the wrong side of the ruck. And the restart deep inside. The Sharks, 22 now. Jaden Hendrickse to Oxenchair. He's had his hands full at scrub time. He'll have his hands full in contact, brought to ground, but it's up. High, it's contestable by Hendrickse. Willie LaRue takes it. Putting pressure on him there was Ethan Hooker, but the Bulls have recycled the ball. There's an opportunity now, the bounce of the ball, straight into the hands of one of the Sharks players there, Johan Goosen, doing well to regather, but it's Lukhanyo Amu saves the day for the Sharks. Gut-wrenching stuff, heart-stopping moments if you're a Sharks fan. Willie LaRue pulling the strings like a puppet there. Perhaps Johan Goosen could have done better just holding on to it. But of course, we can all comment on what should have been better up on the field. If you're out there in front of 30-odd thousand people, your mind could go dilly. And on that occasion, just not working out in the favour of Johan Goosen. Time off for the moment. The Bulls still have a 9-point lead. Cameron Honeycomb, in fact, for the Bulls, has had a quiet game, it must be said. But it's just been one of those games up to this point where it's been frenetic. The Bulls have had 2 real opportunities, one must say. And the last one served on a plate, but it still had to be finished. And would you believe it? Sebastian de Klerk putting it across for Kane and Moody and getting the try. So the Bulls taking the opportunities where it matters. Line out time, it's knocked on from the Sharks. Here come the Bulls again. Chipped ahead, but it's Mapimpi who's away. Yes, space now. Can he find support? He does find the weekend special. And another moment of ill discipline, and that's going to cost the Bulls a yellow card. Harold Foster, bye-bye birdie. 10 minutes, see you later, son. Not on his feet. Diabolical stuff. Perhaps I'm being a bit too harsh on him, but within range for a 3 points here. But you feel the desperation there. Perhaps wasn't necessary. That's just my opinion there. He had wrapped up Papalele Fassi, but then pulling the ball back without getting back to his feet. That's going to cost you. Cynical stuff. Referee Andrew Brace gave him one look, pulled out the yellow card and said, go rest for 10 minutes. Grab yourself a cappuccino. Because Jordan Hendrickse has the opportunity here to put over the extra 3 points to take the Sharks up to 6. Can he find his range? Breathing heavily, but focused nonetheless. Strike is good. It's flying. It's wide. It's not over. Not finding the compass. Perhaps he needs to go have it recalibrated. Jordan Hendrickse leaving points on the field. The Sharks will rue that miss there, but will be playing with them at 1-man advantage. The Bulls restarted. Situka hit hard again on defense. going nowhere slowly. Mbonambi from Hendrickse sets up a ruck. It's Jaden to Jordan again. Brothers in arms. It's high, it's contestable. Who's there? Nokia is there. Sebastian de Klerk into Vincent Koch. Little bit of a mismatch there. But nonetheless doing well to recycle the ball. Willie Leroux from Papier puts it high and handsome. It's Ethan Hooker to Oxenchair. Mbonambi. Fussy finding the space in backfield. Kanan Moody chasing back. He's got support. They're going to have to put it into touch. Sebastian de Klerk doesn't do so. Nervy moments here. The weekend special. To Koch. Corner roll. Lekanyam with the kick pass. Straight into touch. What were you doing? Not so sure. Lekanyam there. We know what he's capable of there, but on that occasion, perhaps forcing the kick pass. The Bulls had the cover in defence. As we see Bongi and Mbonambi giving a little shake of the left arm. Down for the moment. They don't want to lose him. The two-time World Cup winner, Kobus Visa, also down for the Bulls. Another new player in Rassie Erasmus Springbok squad for the incoming international season. Brother of Jasper Visa. We're just adding some more brawn, some more physicality to that Springbok squad. Come 2027. It's back to back to back. You better believe it. All you fans on here, South Africans, I'm sure you believe it. In Rassie, we trust Dr. Rassie. Shout out, special mention to UCT's player of the season for the last 2 years. No doubt he's not involved in this clash, but in Tokoza Makaza, the player that rocks for 2 years in a row, winning the Varsity Cup this year. He hasn't played a moment of professional rugby in Rassie's Springbok squad for the incoming international season. Shout out in Tokoza Makaza. Lots of exciting things to come from him, no doubt, as the Sharks look to play it wide from the line out. But again, the pass is forward, and on that occasion, an unforced error costing them. Lekanyam. Nobody wants to speak badly of our World Cup winner in the form of Lekanyam. Absolute masterclass at number 13 for the Boks and the Sharks, respectively. But on this occasion, somewhat lethargic in terms of that pass, going slightly forward as adjudged by Andrew Brace. The Sharks looking to shift it from left to right. The Bulls will be licking their lips at scrum time here. Greetings from Leinster fans in Dublin. Karen and Aidan, Restaurant 104, shout out from Leinster. Ryan says, defend Bulls, you got it. Strong scrum from the Bulls. Papier to Moody. Up and over the advantage line. Kolisi looking to get in over the ball. Can't do so. It's Kobus Visa from Papier. From right to left, the Bulls play centre field now. Willie Leroux looking to thread it through for Sebastian de Klerk. What does the referee say here? The Bulls doing well at the moment with the man down. Harold Foster, of course, with the yellow card. And it's another scrum penalty. It was an advantage for the Bulls. Vulcalo having a conversation with the referee, trying to get in his head. Wilkolo up against Oxenchair. They'll be joining each other in the Springbok squad come June and July. Interesting to see which Springbok team Rassie picks for the Barbarians. Will we see some youth and experience as the Bulls put it into touch on the 22 on this right-hand touchline? It's going to be Johan Grobler to feed. Uncontested from the Sharks, the Bulls inside the 22 look to go rumbling up with a driving maul. In possession at the back is Grobler. It's a free play advantage, says the referee. David Creel takes it up. Remember, the Bulls playing with 14 only for the moment, but playing in the right areas of the field. Willie van Sail, Kombolle, doen, nul beste, julle kan die ding doen. Ek my julle lewe bal. Willie, the beauty. Penalty to the Bulls. Hands on the ground from the Sharks. Bongi and Banambi frustrated. You can see the emotion oozing out their body language, but the Bulls do have the penalty and they're going to go for posts. Potentially to take it up to 15-3 with 5 minutes to go here in the first half. Carl van Schalkwyk says, come on, Bulls. Jordan Maxwell, once a Bull, always a Bull, Scots. It's going to be Johan Goosen to feed. How's the refreshments there, folks? How's the nerves? Bulls fans or Sharks fans, you must admit it's been a very interesting, pulsating first half. You kind of want to lean towards the Bulls here in the first half. It's not comfortable at the moment, although the scoreboard suggests 15-3. One score and the Sharks are right back. And you feel the Sharks would want to score before half-time. But it is Johan Goosen who puts it over with the conversion. Easy as you like. Up and over. This time the Sharks restart and it's Corne Roll who takes it up to the 22. They regather from the restart. The Sharks, just what they needed. Just what the doctor ordered. Fussy from Hendrickse. They set it up. They're still just outside the 22. This time Oxenchair. Gang tackled. They got to find space. Kolisi. Not held. Can play on. That's going to be a penalty. There's some problems here. It could be a yellow card for Cameron Honeycomb. He's going to go to the bin, you know. I don't like this. But you got to play by the letter of the law, Cameron. No yellow card. I'm being too dramatic. No, I'm not, you know. He's gone to the bin. The Bulls down to 13. We carry on like this, the Bulls are going to end up with 7. They can't do that. Surely not. But really, beyond all letters of the law, there was Cameron Honeycomb. Maybe he watched a little bit too much of the UFC in the week building up to this titanic clash in the semi-final. But the Bulls will be down to 13. They're still awaiting Harold Foster to come back, but Siakolisi's okay. That's the main thing. Our captain, fantastic. Soldiers on. But he's got to rally behind these troops. They're up against it at the moment, but have a 2-man advantage. They've got to make it count before half-time. Surely now. As it's Jordan Hendrickse on the 15-meter mark, just on the 22. of the Bulls on this left-hand touchline will look for touch. They don't want to do it in threes anymore. They want 5 or 7. They put it in the corner on this left-hand side. Will we see a driving maul here from the Sharks? Jordan Maxwell, kom my billetjies stadig op die Sharkies, né? They're in trouble here, Jordan. The Sharks 5 meters out, 10 meters from this left-hand touchline. It's Mbonambi, head down. Fenter, head down. The Sharks are buckled up and ready for the long ride here. Well, they're only 5 meters out. Now 3. Can they find the opportunity past this Bulls defense? They're 2 men up. Surely now it's turned over. It's David Creel, the forgotten son of Rassie Erasmus, if you could call it that. In over the ball, the Sharks. You can see the body language of the Sharks, not up to it on that occasion. But David Creel was, you better believe it, in over the ball on his feet. And just like that, the Bulls clear the lines with 13 players on the field, the Sharks. You feel that was the moment. The Bulls still in the lead by 15-3. With a little over 1.5 minutes to go. Johan Grobler to Marcel Coetzee. The Bulls take it up just inside their own 10-meter mark, but here is a penalty. Now we're going to see 3 points. This should be half time. And the Bulls go marching back another 10 meters. Who's it? Volko Low, who's been pinned by the referee. Back chatting. We're going to take you another 10 meters. Andrew Brace is having none of it. The Sharks, though, could put this over. They're going to the sheds with 3 points. They don't want to do just that. They want 5 or 7. Playing positively, they see the 2-man advantage. But they need to capitalize on it. Jordan Hendrickse puts it into touch. They're only 8 meters out. Gary Lees, let's go Bulls. 100% support all the way from Gaborone, Botswana. Shout out Gary Lees. Here come the Sharks charging ahead. Penalty advantage now, the Bulls. Under all sorts of pressure. Bukanyan going back a few meters, but finding Ethan Hooker. They're under penalty advantage. None gained. We got another yellow card. Yeah, folks, it's getting all a little bit sketchy at the moment. The Bulls back down to 13. Marcel Coetzee's going. The intensity at the moment costing the Bulls in terms of their discipline. Another man has gone to the sin bin. And it's the ever physical Marcel Coetzee who's in the bin at the moment. The Bulls back to 13. They just got Harold Foster back. Normal time is up on the clock. East Coast Tropical Fruit Trees. Official. I love my Sharks, but heck, they're useless. They'll not represent SA well in the final next week. I actually don't want them to win this. Oh, that was a lot to take in. East Coast Tropical Fruit Trees. Sorry to hear that. But they have to make something happen here. You feel they haven't gotten into gear yet, the Sharks. Big players not standing up. What with a 2-minute advantage, can they make it count at more time? Bongi and Bonambi goes down himself. Surely he's crawling, Mr. Ref. Come on. No, says the referee. The question was there, was he crawling? He wasn't. In the referee we trust. We move on. The Sharks in possession, 2 meters out. Here's a real opportunity. What does the referee say? It's held up over the line, the Sharks. They don't get in for the try, the Bulls. Still in the lead. Couple of yellow cards, 3 in fact. The Bulls will start the second half with 13 men, but in the lead by 15 points to 3. Battled, hardened, bruised and bloodied. Some of the players go into the sheds, but that is half time. Get your refreshments topped up and do stay tuned for the second half here on Forever Sports. It's the Bulls in the lead by 15 points to 3. See you in just a little bit.
Here we go.
Welcome back here on Forever Sports. We're almost underway in the second half. In case you missed that pulsating first half, it's the Sharks who trail the Bulls here at Loftus by 15 points to 3. The home fans in full delight, but it's the Sharks who feel with the advantages they've had in terms of the yellow cards. The Bulls have had 3, in fact, in that first half, and still now will play a good couple of minutes of the second half with 13 players, losing Cameron Honeycomb late in the first half, as well as on the cusp of the first half, Marcel Coetzee. The Sharks couldn't capitalise though, but they are underway from the restart. Here in the second half, Jordan Hendrickse looking for space, finding a whole lot of it in backfield. Here's Johan Goosen, who looks to break away. He mustn't get himself into trouble here outside his own 22, 10 metres in from this left-hand touchline inside Bulls territory now. They do recycle. It's going to be Ambrose Papier. The Bulls just looking to navigate the time until their players get back onto the field. They hold a 12-point lead, but they don't want to rest on those laurels. As Papier puts it into Sharks' hands, they return the favour with the kick. Fussy on Goosen. And in possession, Goosen finds Kobus Wiese, but the Sharks with an early penalty here in the second half. It's Manu Tituka, the brother of Vincent, who's on the field. Crucial time here for the Sharks. What do they do? 15 metres in, or 5 metres in, should I say, from this left-hand touchline inside the Bulls' 10-metre mark. They put it into touch. Everyone's got their drinks topped up. We're here for the second half. Not looking so rosy if you're a Sharks fan. But there's still a whole 38 minutes to go. Plenty of opportunity. They just got to rise to the occasion here. Get a couple of players to become a little bit robust. Take it to the advantage line as they do just that. By stays into Mapimpi, but he's driven back behind the advantage line. The Bulls defending with 13, but down this right-hand blind side, Esterhuizen to Jordan Hendrickse. They need quicker ball than that, the Sharks. Venter to Khaleesi. It's just through the hands now. Is that going to be another yellow card? Does the referee say that was a genuine attempt by Willie Leroux there to get his hands on the ball? Drama, but it looks like it's just going to be a scrum to the Sharks, just outside the Bulls 22. Some attention to Sebastian de Klerk, hitting Mapimpi hard in contact, driving him back a good 5-odd meters. 11 on 11. Great stuff if you're a Bulls fan on defense. They've got to make up for the 2-man advantage the Sharks have. Shout out Adrian Pasta as the Sharks look to get over the advantage line via Andre Esterhuizen. Hendrickse to Koch. Head down. Sets up another ruck. Manu Tituka from Jaden Hendrickse. Into the 22 go the Sharks. Emil van Heerden. The recycle is good from the Sharks. Esterhuizen. The defence holds on to him for now. Vincent Suchuka. The Sharks, for the moment, not going forward left and right. It's through the hands now. Here's Mapimpi. Makasola Mapimpi. T-Rex. Over for the try. The Sharks could hit double figures here. Eventually the numbers had to make a difference. It made a difference. And that man, Makazola Mapimpi, made the difference. On the left wing from Bongi and Bonambi. He had the pace over Jan Hendrik Wessels. 1 versus 11, a mismatch. He'll score those all day, twice on a Sunday. And with the conversion to come, the Sharks up to 8, possibly to 10, capitalising finally with the 2-man advantage. The Bulls still with those 2 men in the sin bin. Crucially, 2 forwards. This time, it's Jordan Hendricks who slips. Jaden had a moment in the first half. It cost them 5 points. This time it cost them 2. Jordan can't get the conversion. But try time for Makazola Mapimpi. The Bulls will have to travel to the Aviva Stadium in Ireland to play Leinster. Leinster finished on top of the log, and back comes Cameron Hanekom. The Bulls back to 14, but still without Marcel Coetzee as they restart and kick it straight to Apalele Fassi, who decides to put it into touch on this right-hand touchline. Up to halfway, the Bulls will have the put into the line out. 15 points to 8. A converted try would level proceedings here. But importantly for the Bulls, in possession on this right-hand touchline, just inside their own half. At the back to Hanekom, Papir. Goosen looking for the high contestable. He hasn't got the distance he might have wanted. And into the hands of Ethan Hooker, who makes no mistake. Jaden Hendrickse to Fassi. Nokia finds Foster. Can they find space now? Straight into the hands of Mapimpi there from Foster. It's Esterhuizen who looks to break away from Hanekom but can't do so. Sharks still manage to recycle possession. Jaden Hendrickse at the base. The use it call from the referee comes here. It's high. Again, not the distance he would have wanted. But the Sharks have got it back via Vincent Sichuka. Looking to work himself towards halfway. The Sharks, I beg your pardon, look a little bit more urgent at the start of this second half. It's high from Fassi. Krobler's there to pick up the loose ball. Willie Leroux. There's a player down in back plate. Looks like Cameron Hanekom. We're going to play on for the moment. Willie Leroux manages to get the high ball safe and secure from Jordan Hendricks's kick. What are the options here for Ambrose Papir? It's going to be a scrum down to the Sharks. Taking too long. 5 seconds is 5 seconds, Ambrose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not 6. And the Sharks will have the opportunity with the unforced error there from the scrum off. Got the call, use it from the referee. And those decisions at the moment swinging, the pendulum swinging in the favour of the Sharks here. But serious concerns for Cameron Hanekom down in back play. Rassie Erasmus with raised eyebrows will not be happy with that video feed. Cameron Hanekom does not look comfortable at the moment. We see Marco van Staden warming up on the bench. And if you look out for a player that perhaps is not in the plans of Rassie at the moment, but he's had a fantastic semi-final up to this point, Sebastian de Klerk. He's been running all afternoon, and don't forget the kick he put in for the setup of Kanan Moody's try. Pinpoint. Sebastian de Klerk has been at it all season, in fact. Let's give him a shout out. Fantastic from the winger this season in that Vodacom Bulls jersey. Marco Verstappen is on the field for Cameron Hanekom. We hope that it's not too serious. Just came back on the field from that yellow card. But in fact, he's taken off with the Medicar. And that doesn't look good at all. For his Springbok aspirations. Who do we see now? Perhaps the Van Roos saying, call me, please call me. Who knows what Rassie has in mind? We'll only know once we know the extent of his injury. Get well, Cameron. We need you for the Springboks this coming season. The Bulls still down to 14. Yet to get Marcel Coetzee back. Strong set this time from the Sharks. As they play down this right-hand blind side, it's Ethan Hooker. Ripped from the Bulls. Wonderful rip there. Before there was a tackle, so the Bulls can play on. Billy LaRue kicks it upfield, but straight to Makazole Mapimpi. He's full of running. Where's he going? Not past Wilco Low. Not today, son. Look on your arm. Fends off one in the form of David Creel. The Sharks back in possession. Hendricks at Tafasi. Back to Mapimpi. Fuller running. This time over the advantage line. The Sharks have a blind side on this right-hand side to play with. Fenter with head down. They do so. Kolisi. He's away. Sia Kolisi. Busting past two tackles. Hendricks, the Sharks. On attack here and rampant. The Bulls. Still a man short on defence. Fussy. With a little dot around the fringes. Can't get past the Bulls' defence. On that occasion. Jaden Hendricks to Oxen Chair. The Sharks charging ahead now. Manu Tsutuka. They're only 6 meters out. They're doing it in inches, but they're doing it nonetheless. Here come the Hollywood Bet Sharks. Andre Esterhazen. Look to clear it. Now it's Lukanyuam running out of space. Marco van Staden shutting the door on that potential try on this left-hand touchline. The Sharks will concede possession. What are we doing? We're coming back for a penalty advantage to the Sharks. Lukanyuam trying to perhaps offload, but no space to do so. It's a Sharks penalty. The Bulls offside. And another opportunity for the Sharks here. The Bulls under the pump here in the second half. With a little less than half an hour to go here in this clash here in the semi-final, the Sharks will want to capitalise, but the Bulls back to their full complement of 15. A converted try to level it up here. Vincent Suchuka to Bonge Banambi to Esterhazen. Brought to ground. Here comes Emil van Heerden. The Bulls defending for all they're worth. Jaden Hendrickse to Esterhazen again. Head down, pumping the legs, but he's brought down. Hendrickse to Suchuka. Oxenchair. Wave after wave. Here come the Sharks. Emil van Heerden again. Vincent Koch looking to pick and go. The Sharks stretching the Bulls' defence. Here's a try. Yes, it is. Ethan Hooker over. We have a game on our hands, folks. Sit tight, buckle up. The Sharks right back in it with a conversion to level scores. They've come out hungrier with more intent here in the second half. And it's that man, Ethan Hooker, had a little bit to do. Sebastian de Klerk overcompensated on defence. The step inside fooled him and Ethan Hooker is over. Tough conversion, but the Sharks in double figures. And it is Jaden Hendrickse. We're looking for that cramp now, boy. If you're a Bulls fan, he also slips. They cramp. Well, they got to get new shoes, new boots. Those ones ain't working, son. He doesn't get the 2 points. Oh, how they might miss those 2 points. We saw his brother Jordan slip out at the previous conversion. Slippery stuff. Not what the Sharks would have wanted. They trail by 2 as we see a couple of replacements on the field for the Sharks. 15-13. Nervy moments if you're a Bulls fan. The Bulls have got to strike next. You feel their rhythm has been somewhat disrupted with all those yellow cards. They've got to put an end to that discipline issues as they restart inside the 22. The Sharks are away via Mano Tuchuka. Look at him go. Finally brought to ground by Sebastian de Klerk, but the Sharks hot on the attack. Hot as Hades. Keegan Johannes on the field now to Kanan Moody. Can he break away? Looking to find space with the chip over, but Mapimpi's there. The Bulls with the counter ruck. It's Vincent Suchuka. Surely that's a forward pass. Yes, it is. Well picked up by referee Andrew Brace. Jaden Hendrickse perhaps forcing that one on that occasion. But it's all happening here at Loftus Versfeld. Can you imagine? The after party when the Bulls win. Should they win? They're going to shut Tshwane down. Can you imagine the party in Durban if the Sharks do one over the Bulls on their home ground here? They've really come into their own here in the second half. Tutuka Mchunu there on that occasion. Tackled by his own player in the form of Lucanio Ham. Men strewn across the pitch like it's D-Day in World War II. But that's what it feels like at the moment. Intensity ferocious. Sebastian de Klerk getting some attention. But he's walking it off, but it's into Tutuka Mchunu for the Sharks, who's down for the moment. He's come from the bench. Back on his feet, seems to be okay. Don't we love a little bit of drama? We haven't seen up to this point. A little tug on the jerseys, emotions of the players being kept in check at the moment. Perhaps it's the referee's whistle that's doing just that. Perhaps because we're missing the likes of Ibn Itzebeth, who knows just how to ruffle the feathers of the opposition. But we're setting up for another scrum here. Time back on. Great impact off the bench from Manu Tutuka, brother of Vincent, for the Sharks. Good third quarter for the Sharks, but it's the Bulls in possession now. They got to use it. The Sharks scrum strong. But it's Foster from Papier up and over the advantage line on the 10-meter mark. They play from right to left, the Bulls. It's advantage, free play here. The Bulls still under a penalty advantage. No advantage, says the referee. Harold Foster tackled by Fez Mbata on that occasion. But the Sharks offside at ruck time. Decision time for the Bulls here. Will we see them look to go for a shot at goal? Ronokia says that's exactly what we're going to do. We want the 3 points. And it is going to be, in fact, Keegan Johannes. Mark Sony, Bulls can only play for 30 minutes. They're done, Mark. How dare you, son? But I hear you. Fair point. You've got to last the full 80. Keegan Johannes. One look at the ball. One look at the posts. Another look at where he's going to strike it. It's good. It's flying. It's over. Yes, it is. The Bulls extend the lead to 5. It's 18-13. Keegan Johannes in the week. Jake White mentioned, back yourself, back yourself, back yourself. And that's exactly what he did. The Bulls with the extra 3. A little bit of breathing room, but still within scoring range are the Sharks. And the restart deep inside the Bulls 22. It's Papier who puts it high from the base. Is it contestable enough? It's Fussy. Your weekend special gets it. Fez Mbata from Jaden Hendrickse. The Sharks working their way to the Bulls 22. Thwarted for the moment by this Bulls defense. Great tackle by Kanan Moody on Lukanyuam. It's Mapimpi at the base. Soft hands from Vincent Tachuka to Manu. Jaden Hendricks of the Sharks. The attacking shape just not on at the moment, but the ball moving through the hands down this right-hand side. It's Ethan Hooker. Got a try to his name already, Fez Mbata. It's quick ball now. This is what the Sharks want. But it's loose ball and the Bulls pick it up. They pounced on it. They can turn defense into attack here. Johannes puts it high, but a rather forgettable kick. It's straight into the hands of Makazola Mapimpi. And the Sharks have it back in possession. Aimless kick there, one could call it. But it's pressure on the Bulls there. They were defending. They just wanted to clear the lines. But it's Hendrickson now who puts it high with the boot. Safe hands from Willie LaRue. He sets up a ruck. Ambrose Papier in possession. Chakweni. He'll put the head down and set up another ruck here. We're 15 meters in from this right-hand touchline. The Bulls desperately looking to get out of their own half. Papir does so with the kick. It's too far there. Too much weight on it. Fussy tried to put a little chip over the top. The Bulls regathered, but in the process, in the offload, it's Ruan Nokia, adjudged by the referee to have let it go forward. Just lacking in accuracy at the moment. So in fact, we're looking at 47,274. I was quite off. I said mathematics wasn't my strong point. I said 30-odd thousand. We had 47,000. That should break some records in the Vodacom URC this season. You can bet your bottom dollar a large chunk of that is in support of the home crowd. They hold on to a slender 5-point lead at the moment. A special thank you to all the fans tuned in here on Forever Sports, going on this rugby journey, this being the Vodacom URC semi-final. We're part of a moment in history, and if you're a Bulls fan or Sharks fan, at the end of the day, we are all rugby fans. The banter, the debate, the score predictions, the opinions, they all matter here from the fans. After all, we are because of you. Thank you to all the fans tuned in as we see the blue flags waving at Loftus Versfeld. It is the Sharks who will restart with the scrum down. Jaden Hendrickson with ball in hand. Arthur Peterson, excellent rugby from the Bulls. Bulls fan, shout out Arthur. The Sharks have been pretty damn good in the second half as they come away with it from this scrum. Ethan Hooker to Jordan Hendrickson. From first phase, they've gone up and beyond the 22 now. But in the process, off their feet trying to secure the ball are the Sharks. The Bulls breathing a sigh of relief. Really under the pump there defensively, the Sharks from that scrum. Well over the advantage line. Up to the 22 of the Bulls. And then in the process, off their feet at ruck time. A reprieve for the Bulls via the boot of Keegan Johannes down this right-hand touchline. Puts it safely into touch. We're just into Sharks territory now. Grant Forster, Sharks, keep it in hand. No mistakes, please. You're speaking on behalf of all the Sharks fans, Grant. Shout out. You guys, you guys, I beg your pardon. Leinster would love to play Sharks with Snelden Hendricks' distribution. Very interesting point there, Hugh. You've got a point. You've got to believe, though, that Rassie sees something in Jaden Hendrickson. Perhaps just not on his sharpest form this season. But if Rassie backs you, you've got to believe it. You've got something. Wade Raiders. No penalties, please. Ryan Mould, you beauty. Surely now. Bulls, Kazi. Thank you for tuning in, Ryan. Welcome here on Forever Sports.
Very nice.
The Sharks in possession at scrum time. It's Ethan Hooker. Apelele Fussy, they're trying to shift it wide down to Mapimpi. He finds space. He's over the advantage line, you know. But this time the Bulls over the ball legally. The Sharks just not desperate enough to recycle quickly enough. But Pimpy did the work, putting in a shift on this left wing. But it's Marco van Staden for the Bulls, who has been awarded the penalty for his work over the ball, and legally so. Willie LaRue with ball in hand always has a chip or a comment or two there, looking for his 100th test cap. What a journey it's been for him. Another stalwart of Springbok rugby. Puts it into touch on this left-hand touch line on the Bulls' 10-metre mark. On this left-hand side of the field. The Sharks, I beg your pardon, still well within range. Trail by 5. And they have it in possession now. Akafana Mava at the back. Off the bench. The raging warthog. Marcel Coetzee goes in to dig in, and Ambrose Papier obliges and puts it up with a contestable Moody. Moody's in the mood. The Sharks off their feet, trying to scramble that ball back in the form of Makazola Mapimpi. Not happy with the referee's call. But his decision is final. The Bulls will have another penalty. The referee saying to Mapimpi, kind of get your frustration. Your first attempt was fine. But on the second bite of the cherry, no. Not today. Not today. The Bulls have opted for the 3 points, but what a take out of the air there. Kanan Moody, the incumbent, versus the stalwart Mapimpi. Moody getting it, plucking it out of the air. Mapimpi there perhaps trying to do just a bit too much and pinned by the referee. Stephen Andrews, if the Sharks could kick, a walk in the park. Sharks losing their kicks, Bulls losing their players. Very valid point, Stephen. Shout out Stephen Andrews. This time around, Keegan Johannes has sent it just past the right-hand upright. And the Bulls don't capitalise with another 3 points. It's still a 5-point advantage. A little over 14 minutes to play. One score in it at the moment. And it's Jordan Hendrickse with ball in hand. With the restart inside the Sharks, 22. In possession is Ruan Nokia now for the Bulls. Shout out Lewis Castle. Here come the Bulls. Cobus Fisa to David Creel. And just like that, it opens up like the Red Sea. Don't take your eyes off it for a second. You're gonna get punished, and the Sharks are punished on that occasion. David Creel over for the try. Corbett Visa taking the soft ball and finding his support on his outside. Not sure to pace the outside centre. And over for the try. What a dive. What a try. And what a time to score for the Vodacom Bulls. That's a bit of daylight, you know. Keegan Johannes to add the extra 2 for the Bulls. To take it to 25. It's sailing. It's sailing. It's over. That's 2 scores now. The Sharks will have to respond. They've got a little over 12 minutes to do so. Bella boy! That's what we do, say the Bulls. Godwin Simon says Bulls. Now the Bulls fans coming to life. They starting to believe. Amongst the other 47 odd thousand in the crowd. The final is within reach. But still, so much can happen. Should the Sharks score in the next couple? High in the air, contestable from Papier. Fussy. Finding Ethan Hooker. The Sharks back in possession now. To and fro we go. Bradley David's on the field for Jaden Hendrickson. Will we see a little bit more urgency in terms of distribution for the Sharks? Here they come now. Lucanio, rather average again. Dare I say it? Dare I say it? What just happened? The Sharks lacking that efficiency in terms of the unforced errors there on that occasion. Trying to perhaps do too much to find Mapimpi there. And it's the Vodacom Bulls who won't mind that. Just a tad over 10 minutes to go. Mark Sony, I won't repeat what you said on the comments there. But you're entitled to your opinion, that's for sure. We don't want to single out a player, especially not a World Cup winner. But in these big moments, it's the little moments that count, in that moment, crucial for the Sharks to get back in the game. The Bulls with the put into the scrum. Our blood is blue. Sharks, come on, boys! Changes on both sides in the pack. Who wants it just that little bit more? The Bulls for the moment saying, it is I, or it is us. We are heading to the final. In Ireland, against another blue team in the form of Leinster. Blue on blue, is it going to be? Marcel Coetzee takes it at the back of the scrum for the Vodacom Bulls. Move to 8 off to Cameron Honeycomb is off. Van Staden to open side. Papier high for Moody again. Van Staden now gathers the loose ball. The Bulls in possession on the Sharks 10-meter mark. Kubus Visa seems to find himself in the right places. It's Johannes looking for the pass out wide. Is this the killer blow? Devin Williams just held up short. The Sharks have stolen it. We got a couple of magicians in that Sharks team. How did they do it? 5 meters from the own try line. And it's the Sharks. We'll have to clear the lines desperately here via the boot of Fussy. He does find touch, but it's inside. They're 22 still. The Bulls locked inside the Sharks danger zone on this right-hand touch line. Just a little over 8 minutes to play. Desperation stuff from the Sharks now. They've got to get to the other end of the field. That goes without saying. But the reason why it becomes a little bit more urgent is because they trail by 12. That means 2 scores, at least one of them converted to drawed level. The Bulls in possession on this right-hand touchline. Alan van Lochenberg, dis nou blauwbal masjien vir jou daai een. Ek like die kommentator. Hy maak my dag. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for tuning in. Ja. Die blou masjien, hy gaan aan. Stappie vir stappie, tree vir tree. The Bulls in possession here. Keeping it tight with the short pass there, Papier. Still Papier again. Ruan Nokia, head down. The unsung hero of this Bulls pack. Playing at blindside today from the lock position. The Sharks, energy sapping stuff on defense here. Papier. To Kobus Viso, can't hold on to it. James Fenter. To Jordan Hendricks, I beg your pardon. He hoofs it upfield. Looking for a 50-22. Almost working out, you know. Great work from Willie Leroux. Keegan Johannes back. The Sharks have gained a good 40-odd meters in terms of territory on this right-hand touch line. Keegan Johannes gets it out. But the sands through the hourglass. And so are the days of our lives. They've got to get going, the Sharks. Little over 6 minutes to play as we see Zach Berger coming onto the field for the Bulls at scrum half to close the show here. Good couple of changes for the Bulls, emptying the bench. Crunch time now, the Sharks have to score here. Bradley Davids at the base. From left to right go the Sharks. Faison Bata amongst others to clean and secure the ball for the Sharks. Jordan Hendrickson looking for Mapimpi. Inside ball to Fussy. Mapimpi can't hold on. Fussy looked for a 1-2 there. But the Bulls have the penalty and get their marching orders for another 10 meters. You can't chirp the referee, son. It's never worked out well. If you're a player, get it in your head. The Bulls won't mind that. Willie Leroux having a conversation. No surprises there with the referee. If your blood is blue, you would be celebrating now, looking at this scorecard with a little over 5 minutes to play. Happy days in Chwane. The Sharks, it's desperation time. Akker van der Merwe for the Bulls. Great contest from the Sharks, but the Bulls do get possession. The bounce of the ball at the moment in favour of the Blow Machine. We are marching to Pretoria, Pretoria, Pretoria. Well, the Bulls have got to march to Dublin in the final, and they're moments away from booking their ticket. Mapimpi takes it from the kick. They've got to play now, the Sharks. They can't put it on the boot, Fussy. I'm not being fussy, but you can't put it on the boot. Willie Leroux, awful. Off the side of the boot. Giving the opportunity back to the Sharks with possession here. We've got 4 minutes to play. And you feel now the ship has sailed for the Sharks. Not so many happy fans in Durban or wherever you are around the world tonight. If you're taking a look at the scorecard and you've just tuned in, the Bulls have navigated a couple of yellow cards, 3 in fact, but still hold on to a 12-point lead. The Sharks just somewhat toothless in this encounter. I don't want to be too harsh, but lacking that physical edge with the likes of Yeb not in the mix. Great kick there from Apelele Fassi. Wonderful boot. Into touch. Not cleanly gathered there by Keegan Johannes. Tried to keep it in field desperately, but in vain. The Sharks will have the put in. Sharks just inside the Bulls 22 on this left-hand touchline. Fez Mbata doesn't find his man, but Andre Esterhuizen picks up the loose ball. They centre field now. Aka van der Merwe, it looks like he's in a UFC contest there in the ruck. But the Sharks do get it back. Bradley Davids. It's Mano Tsuchuka. The Bulls not committing at ruck time. Vincent. Players out on their feet. Davids. Manu again. Slow ball for the Sharks here. They're only 10 meters out. The Bulls looking to counter. Mornay Smith there trying to counter, but the Sharks still hold on to it. Bradley Davids. Pepsi Buthelezi on the field. Desperation stuff. It's gone forward. Forcing the last pass there were the Sharks. And there is the ticket to the final. Gone with the wind. That should be that. The Bulls all but sealed their place in the final against Leinster. 1 versus 2, blue on blue. The Sharks just trying to force that last pass. Maar hier kom die blauwe machine. Look out, Arceus Snyman, Geordie Barrett. We're not going to hand it to you on a platter. The Sharks will be disappointed with their performance, but this is semi-finals rugby. Make or break. The pressure can get to you. Kalen Marie, shout out. Kellen, I beg your pardon. Carl van Skalkwyk. Skalk Boetus. Martin Shields, Peter and Al. Everyone tuned in here on Forever Sports. What a ride it's been. We're in the final minute. That is gonna be that. The only thing we can look forward to now is a consolation for the Sharks, and we won't get it because it's a penalty to the Bulls. They can set up a line out and they can hoof it into touch. Blou bulle boer, maak die bulle hemelpokke. Egan Johannes obliges and puts it into touch. Into the stands on this right-hand touchline. And at 25-13, that's the way you feel it's going to stay. The Bulls just want to win the line out. There goes the final hooter. No contest from the Sharks, albeit the throw was skew. That is that. Kicked into touch to seal the deal for the Vodacom Bulls. They are marching into the final from Pretoria, Tshwane to Dublin in Ireland. The Aviva Stadium waits for blue on blue in the Vodacom URC final. They victorious over the Sharks by 25 points to 13. From myself, Roots here at Forever Sports, to everyone tuned in, it's been an absolute pleasure to take you through this one. And of course, I'll see you on the other side. Until next time, bye for now.